All right, and we are live. The last word with LordCognito, Ebontis, Tie Guy, baby in transit, Travis.
Tie guy in traffic.
No doubt, we're back at the campfire that fresh Thursday evening. Destiny talk, a lot of stuff. Special guests hooking up. But man, I haven't talked to you a little bit. What is going on with you and the cheetah, the Transformer cheetah I've been seeing?
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. Transformers trailer for Rise of the Beast dropped today, and there's a cheetah transformer. So I am going to be like a 5-year-old and trying to find Transformer toys at some point next year. So that's going to be a thing that happens. Let's see, because we had a Thanksgiving pre-recorded episode. So let's see. I platinumed God of War, 100% that whole game.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I went hard. It was
wow.
Yep, I did about 38 hours on about 5 or 6 streams, and then I just platinumed it offline. I found every little nook and cranny and boss and fight. I did not do it on Give Me God of War, so I'm an average. I'm a casual, but I just wanted to see all the side quests, the dialogue, although I just wanted to see every piece of that game and every nook and cranny. And I love it. When I did my Game of Year votes, though, you were curious. I did tip the scale, probably 51-49, as close as it could get. I went Elden. I mean, it's literally.
I've been hearing like every good thing you can possibly hear about God of War, and I'm for like the past like 3 or 4 days, I think I've been considering buying a PS5, like just for the sole purpose of playing it.
It's 100% worth it, I will tell you. If you have you played 2018 at all?
I have it on my PC. I played it on stream for like a half hour or something, and then I don't want to get this demonetized, so I'm not going to call him what I want to call him, but some individual came in and like spoiled the story for me, so I didn't really want to play it anymore. I'll probably get back around to it, because like honestly, it's like 6 months later now. I can't even really remember like what they spoiled for me, so I don't even really remember it anymore. So maybe I can actually go enjoy it now. But
if you give yourself enough time for a break, you get a PS5, do 2018. You should play 18 before you do Ragnarok, though.
I decided
if you can.
So I'm doing like a couple of really big videos for December. If they do well in like the ad rev department, then like I decide I'll get myself a PS5 as like my Christmas gift to myself, as like a good job for the videos doing well.
Nice. But yeah, other than that,
because like I mean, spending $500 to play one game is like tough to justify, so I needed like a really good reason to justify it.
But I was gonna say, other than that, for me, I've been staring at kind of what to try and do, because literally Callisto Protocol comes out tonight. I'm waiting to see reviews, because I know they're coming in like at embargo, but from what I've seen, it also looks like it could be freaking amazing. I'm gonna go ballpark mid-80s. I'd like to see, just from what I've seen. I don't think it's going to be like a 9 or anything crazy, but it feels like if it's like 10, 12 solid hours of like just horror game, it could be pretty good. But I mean, Somerville, I kind of want to just play that in a stream. I know I've heard kind of your thoughts that kind of rounded out well. If they could fix some technical pieces and stuff like that. Haven't played Pentiment yet. That's kind of one that I couldn't stream Pentiment, but I wouldn't mind playing it. Like if I ever get a Steam Deck later on, I'd love to do something like that. And there's one other one I keep thinking about. But yeah, I was like just kind of trying to figure out. And then Destiny, of course, comes Tuesday. So got to basically go hard, and the dungeon is on Friday. So I know what's coming next week. That's my main priority. What about you, Cog?
Yeah, man, look, it's been a crazy time. It's been so busy for me. A lot of stuff going on with the shows and stuff like that. But I haven't actually get the chance to game especially over the Thanksgiving holidays. So first of all, before I even start, my man Ducky from the clan is in there. Shout out to Ducky. This man is a lifesaver, because he knows how much I needed collective obligation. RNG has been very mean to me. I'm a Void 3.0 kind of Warlock, and I really want that gun. It suits I know it's a lot of extra pep. People say, it's all this configuration just to get it to work.
Better than it used to be, I can tell you that.
Right. And then it got buffed since, and that thing would never drop. So we was like, all right, we wait for it to be the featured, you know what I mean, raid. We get in there, got the crew. Shout out to Back for Dead. Shout out to Sinister. Shout out to everybody, Demon. And we finally got it after about 4 or 5 runs. So it's about maybe 30 runs before I got it. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice. I'm a big fan of it. Shout out to Ducky, made that happen. But yeah, I've been trying to finish games as much as possible. Obviously, did Pentiment, Somerville, which really got extremely, extremely better towards the second half of the game, towards the end. I've got tough business decisions to make because I started Plague Tale, which is absolutely phenomenal looking.
Oh, I need to play that too.
But then Midnight Suns comes out.
Oh no, Midnight Suns is gonna pull you no matter what you want. You know you're gonna
So
play
it might
that one.
be over a premature death for other games. So I got that, and then Destiny next. It's over for me. But anyway, it's just so much going on, and obviously the shows and stuff like that. Defy the Duke, ILP. But but we got this very patient, amazing guest waiting for us. So,
Let's get him in.
Not
here.
very patient.
Well, that's all right. We'll get you going. I got an intro for you here. Welcome to The Last Word, episode number 226. We are on the eve of season 19. Bungie is dropping hints about Destiny's future all over the place, and the Sandbox is getting quite a shakeup on Tuesday as well. Most importantly, Osiris finally got to have his long overdue embrace with his main squeeze, Saint 14. But before we get into the future, we need to review what has come to pass, and that is the review of Season 18. To ensure we have a good mix of opinions, our guest tonight is a great addition to this debate because if you know him at all, he's not shy at giving his thoughts on many of Destiny topics. A true FPS gamer who has started with an Xbox and Call of Duty beginning with platformers, also with platformers like Ori, MMOs like World of Warcraft, and MOBAs like League of Legends, competition and challenging content are what seem to be a requirement in most of his gaming choices. A thinking man's game is what this guest looks for, and when you take his analytical nature of not only giving all the reasons a problem exists by digging a little deeper than the average bear, but then following up with examples, ideas, and solutions, this guy does not go halfway on anything. So, let's welcome a guest with videos that can actually teach you something about Destiny while having the most fire intros I have ever seen. Seriously, he's got a video coming out on the 10th. Save it. Go look at the trailer right now. It's fantastic. The trailer alone will make you watch that video. Twitch partner with emotes that look like they came right out of the movie Inside Out. Part of a top 10 Deepstone Crypt raid team. Software developer. And always looking at the numbers outside of the box. The one, the only, Mac. How you doing, man?
Made me sound like a superhero. I need to like bring you around when I like walk into rooms.
You're like introducing.
I don't think I'm even like 50% as like good as you made me sound.
Hey, you're good. You're here. You're our guest. You are the royalty. So welcome. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Nice, man. Good.
I do want to mention the video on the 10th. Have you ever done a video that like premiered?
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah, so like people can like go to the video and they can click a button that says like notify me, and I think it'll like shoot them an email like when it's about to start or whatever. The video on the 10th that I have is currently set up for premiere, so people can like go see the trailer for it. But if they click the notify me button on it, it's not going to work when it comes to pass because I'm gonna have to re-upload a new version. Because of the 1-2 punch changes, because I have to go get new footage, and then re-edit it and re-render and re-upload on the 6th, whenever those hit.
Mm-hmm. Well, still, go look at the intro now. Intro's fire.
Yes,
they're rough day.
Nah, you good.
Yeah, no, that's the rough part of putting a lot of work into a video, especially one that you're kind of planning ahead and like doing pieces for, and then all of a sudden you get a shift. Like, I mean, I've just anything like I feel like there's a shotgun video. I can't remember who did it. And then a little later, giant shotgun TWAB came out and changed everything.
Maybe is who you're thinking of?
That sounds right.
I don't know if I'm saying their name right, but
I know.
I know.
About. Yeah,
it's our Yurda or like G Yurda. It's like
GJERD. Yep.
Yeah. I know. I did like
the ultimate shotgun video, and then I think the TWAB came out 2 days later, and it was shotgun changes or something. So they're like, wonderful.
I mean, that's just like it's the nature of playing like a live service game, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, man, I love that you're here and talk about a campfire. We gotta start from the beginning though with you, man. You know, some interesting gaming history. Looks like Dad brought some console into your life a little bit.
Yeah, I remember.
Talk about it. Let's talk about
it. He like I can't even remember why. Like my dad's just the GOAT, I guess, because like it wasn't even like a holiday or anything. It wasn't either of like our birthdays. He like plopped down. He was like, "Yo, guys, I got an Xbox 360 and Modern Warfare 2," and we were like, "Oh, okay."
That sounds fun.
I did. I think secretly he wanted to play it. But it's like
you as the excuses to kids.
Yeah, right. It's like the justification to the wife, like to buy it. But yeah, I remember. I feel like most people played like the Modern Warfare 2 campaign. I think like that's
Yeah, that's one of the
I think it's like rare to find someone who's been an avid gamer for a long period of time who has not experienced that. And my first like extremely vivid memory of gaming was like the snow mission. I think it's like the second mission in the game, like second or third, where you're like sneaking around in the snow in like some Russian base, and then you get like caught eventually, and you're on like snow speeders, and you're like going down mountains and like jumping chasms and gaps or something like that. And like I remember playing like that on the 360, and I was like, yeah, my life is about video games now. And it's like it was.
I mean, if you grew up as like a kid watching action movies and stuff, and then finally you're playing a game, you're like, I'm in one of these things. It was a game changer. They really were.
Yeah. Yeah, you like I remember it's you're with the mission starts, you're with a guy named you're with Soap McTavish, and you're like scaling the side of like an iceberg with like the picks.
I do remember that now, yeah.
Yeah, you've got like the picks, and you've got they have like the boots with like the spikes in them too, and you like wedge your boots in the sides of the mountain, and you're like scaling your way up and being like super covert. And your sniper rifle is like a heartbeat sensor, so like so you can see where the guys are through the snowstorm. It's like the whole thing is crazy, and I was like probably I'd have been like 11 or 12, and I was like, it's like my mind was being blown every like 5 minutes, because I was like, I can't believe like all this cool stuff. Yeah. So ever since then, it's like, you know, video games have been pretty consistent in my life.
Nice. Shout out to Dad. He's definitely the GOAT. I mean, the way he set that up for you guys,
just bam. Yeah, I know, dude. Welcome to gaming, and it's like, okay, yeah. I'm here and ready. You also have played things like Ori, WoW, and League of Legends. I mean, you touched some big genres there. Like Ori's, both of those games are amazing. Like when it comes to platformers for modern ones, those are really top tier.
I think Will of the Wisps like has my vote for like best single player story game. Like best
I
like
can't
narrative.
Fault your vote there. That's a good one.
Yeah, in terms of like the score, the visuals, the design, like the fluidity of the gameplay. The narrative's really strong. Like,
like you want to talk about tiers on stream? I was in trouble.
I think Moon Studios is the name of the company that makes that. Like, they basically like have my money reserved anytime they release a new Ori game, in any capacity. Like, I just auto buy it.
Yeah, criminally underrated.
Those are so good. Yeah, I played them late by the time I got to them, but man, so good. And as you said, the music, the score, I've listened to that thing offline. Just that score is amazing.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Yeah,
that's like my game to like chill on the couch and like sit back with the controller, and like it's like a Sunday, I'm trying to take a day off from editing or something like that, or streaming, or just like try and relax a little bit. Like that's the go-to there. Nice. League of Legends is the direct opposite of that.
Yeah, that's like hardcore comp grind, like all the frames, everything. Just that's a tale of two opposites. And then WoW, just how much WoW did you play? Because I mean, it's been 14-year journey for that game or whatever, and it just got another boost.
Yeah, so I played WoW for 2 periods in my life. The first was when I was a sophomore in college. So I think probably that would have been about 4 years ago. It was when Legion was the expansion going on.
Yep.
And I always kind of wanted to get into WoW. It's kind of like the game. When you think about like gaming, it's like probably one of the most prestigious titles. So I always wanted to try it. And I was long distance with my girlfriend when I was in college. So like playing that together was a nice way to spend time together and stuff like that. So we tried that. And then the second time I played it was in the most recent expansion. I can't remember the name of it. I think it was like Shadowlands or something like that. Maybe something along those lines.
Right, yeah.
And so I played it for each time probably like a 3 or 4 month stretch where like literally every ounce of my free time went towards it. And then I would kind of like max out my gear score that I could get to without having to do. I did everything up to like mythic rating, because mythic rating you have to dedicate an obscene amount of time to like progression and finding a team and stuff like that. And I just didn't have that because I was working plus streaming plus editing at the time.
Wow.
So I would do I would get as high as I could off like mythic dungeons and heroic raiding with like pickup groups, and then whenever I got as high as I could, I just like kind of slowly stopped playing.
It's fair.
And when I stopped playing, I was like, okay, I'm out. I need to like not get back in because it's gonna.
You recognize what it does. Yeah.
So I've been feeling the WoW bug recently, and I've been wanting to hop back in a little bit, but like I know.
You know what that does. You know what that does.
Yeah. Because then my uploaded videos are gonna go from like the usual like 7 to 8 per month to like 1.
I hear.
Yeah, because they just dropped the new Dragonflight or something like that. Yeah, I knew that. Actually.
Yeah, and I've seen like in passing, like from like a Twitter retweet or something like that. I've seen like Dragonflight's amazing. I'm like, oh no.
I was like, seasoned gaming. No, wicked good gaming. I saw somebody. No, I saw the same thing on Twitter. It's like, oh, Dragonflight's really good. I was like, oh, that's trouble for some people.
Yeah. I was like, I don't even know that.
Yeah, you gotta stay away. You gotta stay in certain games like that. Nah, I hear you, man. I hear you. You was about to say something?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah, it's hard because I mean, there's like I miss playing Breath of the Wild, Horizon Forbidden West. Like I've missed certain games just with Destiny releases over the years because. Yeah, if you get buried in anything big, and WoW is the worst version of anything to take you away from what you cover. So, 100% understand that.
Literally, there's an endless like if Destiny was as expansive as WoW, like I would be like I wouldn't have a job anymore. It'd be ruined. I'd never get anything done whatsoever.
Yeah, no
facts, big time facts. Yeah, speaking of which, you got this game, right, that we're talking about that we've all congregated here at the campfire for. So interesting start for you. I'm very curious as far as the game and then how that gets started. And then second, as a representative of the Warlock delegation, I have to ask you, but you had some interesting backstory. You started off as a prestigious Warlock, and then you betrayed the order. You got caught up with the hunters. So I need to know backstory with that too.
I don't know if betrayal's the right word.
I gotta.
He's a Warlock. He has to make everything dramatic. Yeah, it's just what he does.
About the drama.
I mean, so yeah, I started in Taken Spring. So I think it was Taken King came out in 2015, so I started in 2016, like February, March-ish. I don't think I started right in the Taken Spring specifically, but like that was my first like thing going on. I just picked it, like my brother was always talking about it. He played it a lot. He was like, I just went flawless in the Trials of Osiris. I was like, I don't know what that is, but that sounds insanely cool. So I picked it up and I just, kind of fell in love with it, as, a lot of us seem to do. And yeah, I was a Warlock diehard all the way, because like I was like Space Wizard, like that seems cool.
Nice.
But then, you get so hooked on it that you're like, okay, wait, like I want to justify playing as much as humanly possible. I'm going to make the other 2 characters too. And then I have a reason to do 3 of everything. And then I can justify spending more time on this game. And I don't really know. I don't know what it was specifically about the hunter that made me switch, because I know my brother was a hunter main, so maybe that played into it a little bit. But I mean, I love all 3 of the classes, and I always have, and I've gone through multiple periods in the game where like maybe I play. I consider myself a hunter main at heart at this point because it is usually the one that I always go back to. But throughout my, so 2016, throughout my 6 years playing Destiny, like I've had plenty of phases where like Titan is my most played character for a season, or maybe Warlock's my most played character for a season, depending on like what new exotics are out, what the meta is, and just like when Warlocks had double Icarus dash in D2, like I was like solo flawless. Anytime I did a solo flawless dungeon, it would like my first choice would be Warlock. I would pretty much like auto gravitate towards it. So, or when you had like pre subclass 3.0s, you had like a lot of cool movement tech with like healing grenade and like sword skating and stuff like that. So I would do that a lot too. So just got like kind of depending on what the sandbox is. Like my most played character will honestly switch around like pretty frequently.
Nice. Well, it's good to have an even spread, but I mean, yeah, we all kind of know our heart lean somewhere or another, but we all tend to mix it up.
He was a little too diplomatic to answer, and I need him to really commit. So we got to double down again.
He's a hunter.
No, I'll get a little meaner.
Yes, I need specifically the moment when Hunter class hit and you go, yeah, that's it. Was it a subclass?
It must have been early on if it like pulled my switch away from.
Let's go.
Warlock, right?
I need to know about your betrayal. What led this?
Okay, it was probably, if I had to guess, because like I can't remember that far. If I had to guess, it was probably the third subclass acquisition missions in Taken King.
Oh,
when I did the Void acquisition mission, that was probably when I was like, okay, Warlock's a lame.
you threw my lightning. You threw the tickle fingers away.
Because I don't know. I think the Warlocks had the lamest of the new subclass acquisition missions.
Titans was lit. Titans were lit with the
I think Titans was actually the best, funny enough. Yes. So like,
you heard that claim, you were terrified.
Interesting that I didn't like gravitate towards Titan. I think too, because in those days, like you Tether Hunter was like you had to have at least one in every raid group.
Yes.
So I was kind of, I think maybe part of the mindset too was like, oh, everyone's always wanted a Tether Hunter. If I'm a Hunter main, it's like, it's so easy to always get in a raid because I'll have the Tether. And
that's the WoW mentality speaking, because you always need a tank and you need a healer, but everybody always wants to play DPS. So that makes sense.
Yeah, and then if they already had one, you can still justify picking up a Hunter because you have Goldie and Nighthawk.
Yep.
Whereas like Warlocks didn't really like bring that much to the table in raids because like they would always just go Nova Bomb. For DPS, because you had no well back in those days.
No well back then, yeah.
And then Titan, you just needed one bubble, and then like the other stuff didn't really matter. Like you weren't doing striker on bosses, and you weren't. I think you weren't really throwing hammers at them that much. Because I think like Black Spindle was like beating that stuff out in those days.
Oh yeah, that was
so. I think
strong DPS.
I think like the only super that you didn't need, or that you didn't only need one of that would actually beat out your weapon DPS options was Goldie Nighthawk. And so like I think it ended up being like way easier to get into raid groups as a Hunter than it was as the other two, because if they're like, oh, we already have a Titan and they have bubble, like we just want 5 Hunters now with Goldie, or one with Tether and 4 with Goldie, and it was like, okay.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. It's acceptable answer. I'm pleased.
See, he justified it with logic and details and explanations, just like
now you have Warlock, and it's a little different.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I always love to have fun with it. It's the subclass stuff I feel it's fun in Destiny because it's kind of reflective of like your personality and what you kind of like to get into as far as builds and crafting and just what gives you the most joy in the game.
Are you trying to say I like to punch things too much? I mean, come on, that's
just saying. You saw that, you saw them hitting the gym in D2. It was over. I lost my boy, but I understood it. And then the hammers, I'm like, yeah, that's E. That fits him. I get it. You know what I'm saying? But that's dope. I like what people do.
I was Hunter up until Titan Hammers came out. I literally started D1 as a Hunter, and then it was Hammers. Titan has been my leaning favorite pretty heavily ever since.
Sunbreaker is so strong. It was a super popular class. That was one of the best pocketed tools. Mm-hmm.
I think Bungie does do like a really good job of like having very specific like identities for all the classes, where Hunter is like the very short cooldowns, like refunding cooldowns, very fast paced and very like there's a lot of like ability chaining going on. Whereas like Titans are kind of more like frontlining aggro absorbing, and then Warlocks are more like backlining long cooldowns, but like very impactful abilities. So I think, like you said, it does have something for everyone. Naturally, everyone's going to kind of like, I gravitate more towards like the ability chaining play styles, the rapid cooldowns, and like someone else might chain more to like the aggro soaking play style. So
tank.
It's just, like you said, kind of more like personality thing.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's spot on.
Which is I think I've always given Bungie credit for that. Like I think their like the power fantasies that their builds are capable of fulfilling. They all have always done a pretty great job of that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And for D2's credit, my last comment I'll just say is that I really leaned into the support role with the Warlock and Lumina. Like I'm like a Lumina main now, I forgot to tell you about that. Like it's crazy. But I'm really getting into it. But that was my question.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of last question before we actually get into the season, since we're already getting a long intro. But yeah, just kind of your content creation. You started relatively recently, but you've been kind of crushing it since. What kind of got you into it, and where have you kind of found your niche that seems to obviously be working very well for you at the moment?
Yeah, so I have no idea why I started. I think it was like a, I think it was like a COVID.
See what happens.
I think it was like a COVID thing with everything being shut down. I think I was just like bored. Because like the timing of that lines up.
Yeah.
But you know, I think it's pretty common with a lot of content creators where like when you're starting, you don't like really exactly know what you want to do. Or like what maybe your focus is, you know, what your niche is. And so like, you know, my first, 50, maybe even 100 videos are kind of like all over the place. Not really gaining much traction, and not really like my channel doesn't really have any sort of an identity. Not that a channel has to focus on like one particular thing, but typically there's going to be one thing that you're much better at doing than, a whole lot of the rest of the stuff. So lots of experimentation, lots of messing around. Somewhere down the road, I realized, okay, like I feel like my strong suit is education, information, guides.
Yep.
Right. I noticed a gap in the content space, for like the most concise possible guides that were only information, no fluff, right? No, like, 2-minute intro, none of that. Rapid fire as fast as you can. So I think the first like small tick that my channel got was my I would do Grandmaster Nightfall guides, but I would make them as quick as humanly possible, like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, like, which, most Grandmaster Nightfall guides were like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So you kind of,
I'm literally like the polar opposite. Yeah.
Which like, there's like obviously a market for that, right? Yeah. But I think when you're trying to make a name for yourself in a content space, you need to wedge yourself into the door before you can start doing what everyone else is doing. Because if you're just doing the same thing everyone else is doing, they've been doing it longer than you. They're probably better at it than you are. There's no reason for anyone to watch your videos over that person's, because they probably have a better version. So you either need to beat them and make a better version than they are, which is really tough when you're starting out because you're not very experienced. Absolutely. Or you need to find something that literally no one else is doing, because then you're automatically the best at it. So that was my first like little wedge, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm kind of learning a little bit more about this. Do that to get like my small break. Maybe 50, maybe another 100 videos later, I'm like, okay, I have this idea for, everyone does build videos, and I like build videos a lot too, because they're very educational, they're very informative, and it's about a part of the game that I think is very unique, and I think sets Destiny apart from a lot of stuff, right? There's a couple things that sets Destiny apart from its competitors that makes it shine, and I think build crafting is like that number one. So I was like, okay, last time I tried to do something that no one else did, to try and like make a new niche in the market. This time I'm going to try and do something better. I'm going to try and do the same thing everyone else is doing, but I'm going to try and do it in my own flavor, and I'm going to try and do it better from an informational perspective, like a data perspective. I'm going to try and do it better from a visual perspective, and I'm going to try and do it better from a narrative perspective. So I tried to kind of marry this, like, it sounds really egotistical, doesn't it?
No, this guy's just about to make me retire. It's fine. He's just going to do it right. I tried
to kind of marry the idea of like the story behind a build, try to make it like inspiring to a certain degree, because I think people align with like their Destiny characters a lot. It's part of their identities. They're like, so much to the point where like, oh, my friends know me as like the Solar Titan. My friends know me as like the Arc Warlock. It's like who people are. When you pick your main and stuff like that. No, I tried to marry that with, no stone unturned, the most data possible. Like when you walk out of like one of these build videos, theoretically, there is nothing that you shouldn't know. You should know every single small detail of it. And then I just wanted to blow it out of the park visually speaking. I wanted you to like feel like you were watching a movie to a certain degree. Like I wanted you to watch something and be like, this must have taken this guy like literally a year to put together. So I tried to marry all those three, and that was like my big break. I think my channel went from when I did my first one, it was when Void 2.0 was still a thing. And I did it on Omni Oculus Hunter because it was like the build I totally fell in love with. I think my channel went from like 13,000 subs to like 20,000 in like 2 weeks or something like that. So I was like, whoa, there's something going on here.
They like this.
Oh yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
You see something like that, you keep doing it. That's
exactly. Problem is those videos take forever to make.
Indeed.
But yeah, those are so like that's kind of where I found my identity with my channel through trial and error. I still try to hit every aspect of like education and information. So, you know, I'll still do Grandmaster Nightfall guides to a certain degree. I'll still do solo flawless dungeon guides and stuff like that. But I would say like that's probably the most identifiable piece. That's like the heart of what I make.
Nice.
Yeah, but it took what, a year plus maybe to get the skills to be able to even put something like that together, and to be able to sift through all the other stuff to be like, this stuff doesn't really work for me quite as well.
Honestly, that's still like timing wise, that's still pretty damn fast in the grand scheme of what you've been doing. So that's why I was like, a lot of people, me included, take a lot longer. And if you found a niche where you have that kind of growth, like, yeah, those videos take a little while to do, but no, it's just looking at the quality of your content and the effort you put into it. There's no surprise, I think, to anybody who looks at it that you have found success. Like it's good to see a great creator like get success because you found a niche, you got a nice little rocket. So YouTube's going to be like, all right, let's show this to a few more people. And it's just like, if you can keep it going, man, it looks, it's good.
And, you know, unfortunately, not every large scale project like that is going to work. And I certainly had large scale projects before those playbook build videos that I sunk a load of effort into and I had a ton of confidence in that just didn't work out. That's like the nature of content creation, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I always try and emphasize that road because I know a lot of people dabble in content creation at some point or another. And I think it's important to emphasize that it's going to take you a while to figure out where you fit in and figure out what you're good at. It's going to take you a lot of trial and error. It's going to take you hundreds of videos. It's going to take you years, and that's okay. That's normal. So it's like, I think a lot of people, they go at it for like 2 or 3 months. They don't see significant growth, and they're like, this maybe isn't working. I should give up. It's like, no. It probably is working. It's just the numbers aren't there yet, but your experience is growing. You're learning a lot of stuff. You're going through a lot of trial and error. It is working. You're just not seeing the fruits yet. You just got to keep going a little bit longer for those graphs to start pushing.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. It's like it's there. You love how you can go through, because I would imagine most content creators that have seen the big upswing moments, because whether the scale is like I went from 1,600 subs to like 4,000 subs, and those 1,600 subs took you a while, and you go like you gain a couple thousand subs in like one video, and like, damn, what happened? And then you get that one video, as you said, and you got like 7,000 subscribers in 2 weeks, and you're like, those. It sounds stupid as a content creator, but I'm like 100% in agreement with you. Like those moments stick, and you're like, okay, this is something. Like I remember there was another content creator who shouted me out. It was Pyro Gaming. He's been quiet for a while, but I was like, he just shouted me out, and I was like, why are these people commenting on my video that they came from somebody else? And it was like, and he just gave me a shout out, but it was also like, and that was like a first nudge, but mine was my Whisper of the Worm video. And it's like, and that to this day for me is just still crazy, but it's like those moments stick with any creator, because when something explodes and does something memorable to your channel, it sticks. So yeah,
absolutely.
But again, you've made hundreds and stuff in between too, and that's why it's good you should describe both sides of that.
That's part of because I mean, if you only talk about the success projects, people are going to try and replicate it, and without knowing that the reality is the way I like to say it is, every video is like a lottery ticket, right? Like any one of them can blow up, but you don't know which one. So, if sometimes you just if one out of every 100 videos explodes, and you've made 60 videos and all of them have done pretty poor, it's like, well, this isn't working. It's like, well, growth isn't linear necessarily. Maybe you just need to get to video 75. Maybe that's the one that really goes boom. And then from 75, after that one goes boom, look, you're getting a little bit more traction now. And it's entirely a trial and error thing, especially when you're starting out.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
absolutely.
I was like, I have over 1,000 videos on my channel because I've been doing this for way too long. And some of those are smaller news and other stuff. But it's like, yeah, when you really kind of figure out what your, like, there's more understanding about YouTube, the algorithm, what your audience is, how your niche falls and stuff like that. It's a whole layered onion to try and peel back and kind of understand everything. But when you finally get like little nuggets of knowledge like this work, or like, hey, a thumbnail, you change a little formatting, you're like that, and you see like consistent traction from better looking thumbnails, and you're like, all right, that is a serious focus. So content has so much to it. So just I just wanted to shout out your success because it's been hard work, and quality work is showing. And then, as you said, there's like, you need good quality, obviously hard work to go with it, and a little bit of luck sometimes, because the algorithm does need to shine and give you a little love every so often.
A lot of ego kicks too. Like, you'll think you figured something out, you think you know something, and then you're like, oh, okay, I kind of get this YouTube thing now, and then you're like, oh, actually, never mind, I don't understand it whatsoever. So it's it's a marathon for sure.
For sure.
YouTube is good at serving you humble pie all the time.
Yeah, I know, 100%.
Shout out to the algorithm.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll remind you that you're human more than anything.
Yes.
Season 18 is basically done now. We got the final cinematic. We had all the community events that were going to happen. They are all done, whether they're events or not, or whatever you want to call them. But I wanted to talk to, and I know I was trying to give Travis, he's literally on his way in a cab, but he's in San Francisco, so God only knows how long that takes. But what I wanted to do is, because what I saw on Twitter and what kind of prompted just me asking Mac to join us was, I saw him specifically, and then a lot of replies. It's like, season 18 is one of the worst seasons. And I was like, some people were saying the worst, this is awful, I can't stand. I made a video literally just wondering, is this season bad? It's always funny to watch comments on that because they are quite entertainment. Just don't take anything too seriously. But the idea is, are we getting rose-colored glasses over old stuff? Is this as bad as we think it is? What did we actually get within a season versus other seasons? So I kind of wanted to do a quick rundown of like seasons, just so you guys get a quick thought in your head of like, what have we gotten previously? And then kind of compare that to season 18. So I'm going to do a quick run as fast as I can. I'm going to list basically the activities we got, any exotics, and then there are a couple like mentions of certain things that may give a season, shinier notes, but also if you take some of this stuff away, it'll be a thing. So, okay. So I'm going to go from Shadowkeep onward, just because that's when the seasons actually started. Beyond, obviously, Forsaken, we had Forge. Those were different studio under Activision, multiple studios working with them. Shadowkeep was kind of also now the only stuff that you can really get to. So, first we had Season of Undying that came with Shadowkeep. We had the Vex Offensive, and we got Ariana's Vow and Leviathan's Breath. That's about all we got in Season of Undying. Season of Dawn, we got the Sundial, which had 3 different wings, had multiple boss variations. We also got the Stonks Investing to build the Trials Lighthouse. Yes, we had about 2 to 4 story missions with Saint 14 to kind of get him, through that whole process. We had Symmetry, Bastion, Devil's Ruin, and the Corridors Puzzle. And Bastion came from the Corridors Puzzle. Season of the Worthy. We had the Seraph Towers event, and then we had the Bunker Clearing, which I think, was that like a weekly thing? I'm trying to remember. The bunker clearing, if it was weekly, I don't think it was like daily, but it was just like, it was part of a thing.
There's a new one every week.
Okay.
Because there was either 3 or 4 different bunkers in total.
Yeah.
So each week you could clear out a new one.
Yep.
Right.
And then the Almighty Live event. That was the end of that season. We had the lights on the wall that we all watched in anticipation of what was coming.
Oh, right.
Of course, Trials. Yeah, the little light bright wall. That was the fun one. Trials returned. Obviously for PvP, pretty big. We got Tommy's Matchbook, Fourth Horseman. We also got War Mind Cells and Seraph weapons. And they did introduce Grandmasters at that time. Season of the Rivals. We got the Pyramids in the World. Kind of a big changing event there. We had the weekly interference mission with the Tree of Silver Wings. We did get the Prophecy Dungeon. And we got the Contact Public event. As for exotics, we got Witherhoard, Ruinous Effigy. And we also got Umbral Engrams at that time. Then we got Beyond Light and Stasis. Now, Season of Arrivals was like 5 months long. So just FYI. Then we got Beyond Light. We got Season of the Hunt. We got Wrathborn Hunts. Hawk Moon and the mission that went with it, which I can't think of the name of off the top of my head. Somebody will probably know it in chat.
Harbinger.
Harbinger, see, somebody does.
Cool.
We got the Duality Shotgun as well. And we're going to get Stasis aspects this entire year. But it was Wrathborn Hunts and Hawk Moon. Season of the Chosen. We did get a new strike with the Season of the Chosen, Proving Grounds, +2 reprise strikes. We got the War Table upgrades for the first time, but we kind of saw a tease of that with the Cryptolith Lure upgrades and Crows upgrades. We got Battlegrounds, Dead Man's Tale, and the Presage mission, Ticuu's Divination, and Umbral Focusing. Season of the Splicer, we got more Helm upgrades. We got the Override and Expunge missions. So Override was 6, Expunge was 3 missions, 3 Corrupted missions, and Quaria. We got Vault of Glassback, Armor Synthesis, aka Transmog. We got Vex Mythoclast, Cryosthesia. I think those are the 2 in that one. Then we got Season of the Lost. Shattered Realm. We had 3 different segments of Shattered Realm. We had the Savathun Crystal story. We had the Astral Alignment, kind of divided multiple pathways that you could do, plus the big finale. We got Ager's Scepter. And we also got Lawrence Driver, which has been held to people recently, but it wasn't so bad a little while ago. 30th anniversary, we got Dares, Galley, and its Catalyst, Grasp, and of course, Zur and Starhorse and Forerunner. And finally, with Witch Queen, we got Season of the Risen, with Psyops Battlegrounds, 4-week story, War Table upgrades, we got Vox Obscura, and we also got the Grand Overture Machine Gun, and we got Guardian Games. I missed some of the events, but I'm just kind of picked and choose what I kind of give it a list. Season of the Haunted. We got the Haunted Leviathan. We got 7 Sever missions. Nightmare Containment and the Leviathan, like kind of just patrolling the Leviathan and the public events. Solstice and kind of the armor that went along with that was actually kind of a reasonable one. We got Trespasser and Duality. We got Solar 3.0 there. Previously, we got Void 3.0 with Witch Queen. And then now Season of Plunder, we got Delicate Tomb, King's Fall Raid, Arc 3.0, Catch Crash, Expeditions, Hideouts. We also got the Gift of the Thunder Gods, which for most of us, we could care less. But I will say for a free player, for a free player, like as I logged in on my free account, I was like, literally, you can get all of that. Okay. And then, of course, the community event, the Telesto event, and Festival of the Lost. So when you read all that stuff off, obviously you can kind of pick and choose. But I wanted to ask you guys, as Season 18 did get a lot of crap, I'm trying not to lead the witness here. So I wanted to ask you guys, why do you think Season 18 of Plunder has kind of such a tarnished public view? When you read a list like that, it doesn't specifically stand out as really any better or worse. When you could say Season of the Hunt, Season of Undying, Season of Worthy. Didn't bring a lot to the table, but Season of Plunder is one that right now in a lot of people's minds, you could even mention some of those, and some people like, some are better or worse, even though at the time they were pretty hated. So why do you guys think this season specifically because I'm no leading the witness. Yeah, no pun intended. Well played. But what do you guys think it is? Like, this season just has a weird feeling to a lot of people, and I was curious if you guys, and Mac, I wanted to get your take first. What do you think it is about this season that makes it kind of leave the bad taste that it does right now?
So is it the worst season we've ever had? I don't really know. I think it's getting that perception to a certain degree. I think the first reason that it's getting that is because it doesn't get to hide anywhere. So I think that the first season of every expansion that we've gotten has been horrible. I think Season of Undying was awful. I think Season of the Hunt was awful. And I think Season of Risen was awful. But you don't really notice it that much.
That's the
because they come with all of the base Shadowkeep content, / all of the base Beyond Light content, / all of the base Witch Queen content. So even though the season is extremely lackluster and pretty boring and doesn't have a lot to do, it gets to hide behind the fact that we have a brand new campaign to do and a brand new raid to do and a brand new destination to explore and all that kind of stuff. So Season of Plunder doesn't get that luxury, right? It doesn't get to hide behind anything. There's nothing else that's coming with Plunder. It doesn't get to hide behind. I don't really know if you get to include the dungeons and the reprised raids along with like the seasonal offerings. But if you do, I think people generally get a little more excited about dungeons than they do about reprised raids, just because dungeons are brand new.
Right.
I think that honeymoon period is a little longer. So it doesn't get to hide behind a brand new dungeon like Duality. It has to hide behind King's Fall, which is a great raid, and it was fun. But the honeymoon period of King's Fall, I think, is a little shorter than the honeymoon period of something that's like brand new, like Duality. Now, Season of Plunder has like a lot of items on it, right? Like when you look at all the bullet points of what it comes with, it's like, oh, there's like actually a lot of stuff here. You have Catch Crash and expeditions and hideouts. Like, it seems like there's a lot of stuff to do. But more bullet points doesn't necessarily equal better content or even more content necessarily, right? Because if you take like Catch Crash, for example, and you stack it up next to maybe like Sundial in the Season of Dawn, I think most people would say that like Sundial was significantly better, significantly more replayable, and significantly more like interesting and engaging than something like Catch Crash. And I think when you look at Plunder as a whole, you kind of have something that has very uninteresting seasonal gameplay, right? The expeditions are like the bad part of Overwatch, which is like a really weird thing to like center around. The hideouts are literally lost sectors, which is not particularly like an interesting. It's not new, right? It's not like a new gameplay experience the way that a lot of seasonal content will be. Catch Crash was actually like decent. I think Catch Crash is actually like probably the best part of Season of Plunder if you don't consider like Arc 3.0 and King's Fall to be a part of like the season, more so just like things that happen to be introduced in the game along with that season. So I think when you look at like the season specific activities in conjunction with, I think the story was like pretty weak this season. I don't think it was nearly as interesting as something like maybe like Haunted's, where you're focusing on like the story that will inevitably directly carry over to what we're going to have in Nightfall. I think when you combine those two things along with like the community event, which I think community events are not very good recently. I think they're very uninteresting, when it's just like stuff currency into this thing and you don't like really get to see yourself. Like, it's not apparent that you're contributing, right? Because it's on such a large scale. I think when you combine all that together, plus the fact that it has nothing to hide behind, like Undying, Hunt, and Risen do, I think that's what makes for people kind of like looking at this season and being like, yeah, this sucks.
Cog, what about you, man?
Yeah, it's I see the talk. The talk is this is all the Twitter rage right now. Yeah, I mean I get it. I think that and I think I saw a discussion between two people, and I forgot who it was, and they were like, why do people feel so strongly against Season of the Plunder? And I think someone pushed back. It was like, well, no, Curse of Osiris was the lowest, and then I think they kind of started to stack what Curse of Osiris consisted of versus Plunder. I think Mac made a good point in reference to because it's weird we're talking Season of Plunder when technically like King's Fall and Arc 3.0 launched during it.
Yep.
But the reality is, yes, because it's a reprise thing of something that we know already, as opposed to that new thing. Maybe that's why it didn't hit. I think for me, which I've already said in the past, the narrative team has been doing such a great job seasonally in past seasons, keeping it alive, right? And I think what has happened is this is one that we have to be honest. In my opinion, this is one of the weaker narrative seasons. I think they didn't. The Aramis wasn't as interesting. I don't think anyone was really that enthralled that she came back. We knew it was happening at some point, but I don't think it was the payoff was really good at the end. And it was like, okay, we're gonna do a fight and then you escape again. I don't think that landed. I think at the end of the day, another opportunity was missed with the Nezarec situation. I thought it was cool for the introduction, but I don't feel we really got a cool. I just didn't feel it came together the way I thought it should have for the epicness of this character we've known. And then we get the classic, put a halt in the middle of the season kind of thing. And it kind of reminds me, if anybody watches Walking Dead, like this mid-season finale thing,
yeah.
Right? And it's just like, bro, like tell the story. Like it's like you're just stretching it. Like tell the story. If you're gonna end it at a certain time and it's not gonna go through the whole season, fine. But just get it out, done. And I think that's now starting to take its toll on people, I think, a little bit. And then coupled with the fact that this is not the strongest narrative. So I'm with that. Look, the Destiny players base has spoken. We have to be brutally honest there. The player base, the numbers are reflecting it. Like, people are not playing the game as much. And for me, instead of, my mentality, I learned from a certain person, and I'm not going to get super angry anymore when it's not doing what I need to do. And it's my chance to catch up on other games and other I watch Mac's video. Here's the exotics I got to get. I watch Ebontis video. Here are the things I need to do for the next season. I make sure I'm ready for the next seasonal change. And that's it. So yeah, I think the seasonal model needs adjusting. I think that the last thing I'll say, the two events, was it Catch Crash and Expedition? The one where you follow the thing, I hate that one.
Expedition has the treasure hauler. Yeah.
The one where you got to follow the thing and it's like, miss me with that. And they're in a tough spot because it's content that they have to create, but that for the most part doesn't last, right? It's not going to be permanently staying in the game. And I don't know from a development standpoint how sustainable it is and how productive that is. Shout out to the cops. I'm sorry. So it's very exciting by me, right? Shout out to the fire department and everybody else. But they're hype.
They're going to be arresting Expedition and taking it away. So
yeah, they're taking Bungie away. They coming for Bungie. They are very upset. They don't want to hear it, Cog. They don't want to hear it.
That's actually one of the main points that they need to address is that, like, their seasonal content it gets recycled or not recycled. It goes in the bin eventually, and it's like, how can you justify making genuinely compelling stuff when it's just going to go away? And like, I think that's something that they need to solve. And I've had ideas for that issue in the past. I think that's one of the main things, right?
Maybe they see that as a feature and not a bug.
Some of you may hear a new voice joining the podcast, and as expected, fashionably late, but definitely be fashionable.
That wasn't his fault.
No, this is called traffic and work, but
yes,
he's right on time.
Yes, he arrives when he is meant to, just like Gandalf.
Yeah.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. I was gonna say, I think maybe the fact that they throw all the stuff in the bin is seen as an advantage to them, because they were doing that before the seasonal model. It was called the Vault. Remember? They're trying to get stuff out of the game. And I feel like they might like that there's a disposable element to this.
Possibly. Yeah, we got to see.
Either way, I'm happy to see. Oh, look, I got a blurry background. That's super weird. Let me change that. But I was gonna say like I this week felt great for me because I felt like the community was finally catching up where I was on seasonal stuff, where I've been for over a year with thinking that seasons have been super underwhelming. And I honestly think the only reason that last season wasn't as much of a social bloodbath as this season is because people liked the story, which I didn't like the story last season. So I was here last season as well, thinking y'all are giving them a pass for mediocre ass storytelling. But hey, you know, now we're here. We're all in the same place. It doesn't matter who got.
Now we all think the storytelling's better.
Look, it doesn't matter who got here first or who was sort of leading the way. Who doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We're all here. We're all on the same
Travis
page.
doesn't know what humble pie tastes like, but that's fine.
I think it's super apparent too, like why everyone was not driven by this season's story as well. I think a lot of people were in the same boat, but like it was never apparent to me what we were doing. Like I never really understood. Like if I recall correctly, the story was like you need to get these relics because the witness wants them, and we can't let him have them. And it was like, okay, why does he want them? What do they do? And it was just like.
Yeah,
it was kind of the
and then like
I mean, even
like
if the story was good, though, would the season be good? Because I would argue
no, not necessarily. But I think
can't save the
I think it would have
season.
masked it significantly better the way that the because I'm with you. I didn't think the season of Haunted Story was like that great, but the majority of the community enjoyed it, and I think it kind of masked the underwhelmingness of Season of the Haunted. So I think
Season of the Haunted got that that asterisk, the good asterisk for Destiny. You know what I mean? And that's what they get for a lot of these story things. But I think we're in a pretty bad place. We're not at the point where we're talking about how Bungie was successful or unsuccessful at masking how
right. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like if that's the conversation, we probably need to change things up significantly.
Because I think
Oh no,
no, go ahead.
No, Mac, you can go ahead. You can finish your thought.
I was gonna say I think I think everyone wants Destiny to be good, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like no one takes joy in like walking, like maybe some people, but like a very low percentage. The people that genuinely
IGN commenters and exclusive.
The people that genuinely enjoy playing the game. No one wants to be out here being like, yeah, this season's not engaging, this season's not fun, this season's bad. So I think a lot of players will look for any reason to give a season a pass and be like, yeah, good job, Bungie, because like that it's their favorite game. They want it to be good. That's understandable, right? So I think even though the seasons have been really rough so far, I think every season had at least one thing that your average player could point to and say, well, this was good, this made it good enough. And I think the price point of the seasons is also very important, right? They're $10. They're very cheap. Yeah. So it's not that hard to give someone enough to justify their $10. Right. So
maybe
I think a lot of people are like, I
would argue that the cost of something doesn't make it better, right? There's games that are free that are great.
No, I don't think so either. But I'm saying
Apex Legends is free. Fortnite is free. There's lots of games that cost nothing that have a better free to play model, more consistent content, etc. I think and I get that some people always say, well, it's just that much money, so it doesn't matter. But honestly, do you want to get burned out on Destiny on mediocre content when they could just wait and do an annual release and delight you, and then you kind of forget about it for a year?
I like expansion talk. Go ahead.
Personally, I like, and I don't know how many feathers this is going to ruffle, but
let's go. Let's do it.
I wish they would up the cost of the seasons if it meant that we got more substantial seasons. Like I would much rather pay $20, $25 per season if it means that we get PvP maps, actual, like story missions that are not just a reskin lost sector. If we get actual stories, actual narratives with like cutscenes, if we get actual exotic missions and stuff like that, because I think a lot of people will defend Bungie on that $10 front. I think that's why it's really tough to kind of like break through these cracks, because you have so many people that are like, oh, well, you know, there's always going to be a reason to find where it's like, well, Bungie has an out, right? And they'll always have people defending them on that. And I think right now one of the toughest ways to break through this like conversation of like, these seasons are not, you know, whether they're living up to the $10 value or not, they're not enjoyable. They're not providing a substantial amount of content, a substantial amount of playtime. So, and I think the number one thing in the way right now is that price tag. And so I don't.
In conjunction with I just want to add on, and I'll give it back to you guys. In conjunction with I feel they've gotten it's become a chore. You know, like when I look at stuff like the ruffians and the, you know, the time gating, now it's like, okay, so now you offer me this $10, but I can't play it the way I want to play it. You're forcing the way the content's played, and that's just unfun. And I think that's what's happening. They're policing a little bit too much, they're very heavy-handed lately in that. And I think that I see the community is kind of reflective. And when we do the TWABs, you'll notice a lot of the TWABs are a pullback from a negative response that they received based on some ridiculous goal, you know, that they set. And then even when we had, what was it, the catch crash and the master thing and how many champions, and it's just this push-pull of a heavy-handedness. And it's like, we're giving you $10 content, but we don't want you to do it fast. Wait, hold up. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of thing. And I think they're getting pushback. They're getting some serious pushback. I just wanted to add that part, because that's something I'm starting to see the community really getting annoyed with them with.
Travis has a thought, and then I want to go.
Yes, please. Travis.
Yeah, you're paying $10 to do busy work, basically.
100%.
Content, which is what people want. I mean, it's Star Chores. You know, Eververse Strikes Back.
Moving out Stellar Edition.
Yeah, and I think I really do not buy the whole it's the $10 price tag. They're trying to keep it cheap, and so they give you $10 of content. Look, they've had so many excuses, right? They've got the Eververse money that we know they're making off of all these events, right? That are not costing them money because they just copy and pasted the event last year.
Speaking of Eververse money,
shout out to Fall Guys.
We know they're getting that. We know.
Shout out to Assassin's Creed.
They've got Transmog. They just got bought by Sony, which I was promised it was going to make Destiny so much better.
Oh my god!
All of these things, they've got all this money coming in, and I'm supposed to believe that the barrier of entry is that if they just had an extra $15 per person, they could give me so much better stuff. I don't buy it at all. I really don't. I think that they're charging you $10 because they know they're not giving you much, and I think that even if you give them $15 more per person, it would not be enough to give them the time that they need and the manpower they need to make better content. And I think they know that, so they're charging the least that they can because they know that
they can hide behind it.
A ton of content. Yeah, because it's only
Speaking
$10,
of
right?
Eververse money, what happened to all of the money we made from you guys buying the Whisper ornaments? We were able to use to fund the 0 hour mission.
Mac, I'm trying to save you. Though you digging up old wounds.
Where'd all the money from the 0
we
hour
all agree
ornaments
on,
go?
We all agree on that one.
No,
where did all the money from the Hawkmoon ornaments? Like, I'm just saying, like, we were kind of sold this narrative of like, oh, because you guys bought the ornaments for the secret exotic mission, we were able to make a new one. Right, so like, we were kind of
your channel. You go
hey,
real
if you buy these, you're gonna keep getting these missions. It's like,
if you're gonna be logical, we can't have it.
Where's the next one? Where's the next mission?
It's like
4 years ago.
So for me, when I look back, and this is why I went through and made the list of all the seasons, I was talking with chat, going through all this stuff, and I was streaming while I was doing some of this, and I was like, all right, what's in each one of these seasons? And for me, I look back, and when the pieces we're talking about is the content of like, it's temporary. I think one of the pieces of temporary content that kills me the most is the Shattered Realm. That content was so good. Why people that got to start with Witch Queen don't get to experience it, like, hurts me. Because I love, like, the Metroidvania version of that going through each week. And then you had the different, like sectors that you would go through. And they were actually really cool spaces they built. And the fights were actually challenging when you went through them. Especially as a solo player. Like, I had fun in those, finding all the secrets and stuff. And I'm like, you can make that, which was cool, But then again, it doesn't stick. As you guys are saying, this is temporary content. Now, Travis, whether you think it's of their benefit or not, I don't know. That's up to them. But I was like, I feel like it's got to be kind of at least a little painful inside to put that much effort into content, knowing either 3 months or 6 months from now, especially season 19 content is going to be theoretically in the game for 12, 13 weeks, whatever it is. Like, that is a short amount of time for somebody to enjoy your content, and it's gone. At least the people who made PsyOps Battlegrounds or the Leviathan or even Catch Crash, which a lot of people say is a pretty solid 6-person activity. You got 3 different legs, you got 3 different bosses, you got different mid stuff to do. It's actually, for a 6-person activity, decent amount of variety, decent, like, you know, threat if you put it on master, which I still think should have matchmaking, but that's a different piece of the discussion. But like, Catch Crash isn't bad, but again, how long does this stuff live, which really kind of hurts.
That actually accentuates Travis's point like really well. It's like, I think Bungie kind of likes that it gets to go away because it gives them the justification of making it kind of crappy. It's like, oh, well, yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be that good.
It doesn't need to be perfect. It's us beta testing stuff to see if we can put something in an expansion that's like this, right? Or put it into a main activity. I honestly think it's just like, it. Also, they don't want to bloat the game. They've talked about that a bunch of times. So they're like, oh, there's too many playlists, too many things to do. And so I think it's actually a feature, not a bug.
Yeah.
I think they're happy.
They do start that, like, they're feeling like throwaways. Like, you cannot tell. Like, I cannot be convinced that expeditions are designed for the long run.
No, that was we're going to use a patrol space.
Like,
I was even like saying it out loud, and it sounded ridiculous. You're going to stand here. A few guys are going to spawn. You're going to chuck stuff into this thing. Go along to the next zone. A few more guys are going to spawn. Treasure's going to throw up. You're going to throw it in there. And then you're going to follow it to the end and shoot some more guys. And it's like, you're never threatened in there. Nothing is going to kill you. It's not challenging.
They figured out how to make something more boring than standing on plates in raids. It's like, it's difficult to do. And at least when you're standing on a plate in a raid, like, there's bad guys that can like maybe damage you and maybe kill you. It's like, now you put in a patrol zone where the enemies might not even exist. They shouldn't even exist. It should be like target dummies. They should be like little cardboard boxes that don't move. They're not going to kill you. They're like, no, they don't do any damage to you. I don't get it.
Yeah,
it's really weird.
Boxes, damn.
But I was like, I would say this season feels like the season of 1,000 cuts, because a lot of the stuff that you guys said, but combined all together, you've got, hey, there's a story beat between, like, you know, log in and do your Catch Crash, but then you have to go kill 50 champions for some reason before you actually go see the 2-second story. And then the story isn't even that big of a deal that week. You've got expeditions that are like slow. And here's this thing, ruffians, that you're like, okay, I want to get the seal. What are ruffians? I can't even get these things to spawn if I'm efficient. If I just play the game as I should, shoot the guys and do the objective, I literally work against myself to have the ruffians spawn. And that's very obvious because they took it from 50 to 10. They know they screwed up. You've also got like the first mates, those ones. They took the summoning of those from 15 of each to 1. And it's like, but those again, it's more of like the problem with just a bounty and a Vanguard strike. You're like, hey, if I don't run up to the flag first to summon the first mate, I don't get credit for it. So then it's not that like somebody summoned the first mate and I get credit for it as a team, somebody else did. And then you've got, you know, the Haubrick, which was, you know, disabled for 8 weeks of the season. You've got Festival of the Lost that was bugged at the start of every single week of Festival. It was bugged when you're trying to turn in pages, and the first day was for like 12 hours. You've got the Telesto event, which wasn't an event, and everybody got hopeful, and then it was nothing. Then you had the community event, which was cheesed, which thank God.
Telesto event made me angry.
Yeah.
I was like upset.
That's the main.
I tried to tell everybody that it wasn't a real event, and nobody believed me.
So like, I mean, and like, maybe I'm a little more cynical, but like, I don't have any proof, but like, this is how the situation read to me. As you know, Bungie knows how thirsty we are for a secret mission, and how crazy we'll go anytime that's like whispers of one could potentially be surfacing, right? Because this is how all the secret missions start, right? It's something weird going on in game that is very obviously not a bug, which like the Telesto one was clearly not, followed by some type of narrative from an official Bungie platform. Could be the forums, could be their official Twitter accounts, in Telesto event, it was both. And I think they know how huge we get, and I think I think overall it was a marketing ploy to sell Telesto t-shirts that took advantage of community hysteria or historic community hysteria for secret events to hype it up even more to get to the point where when they ultimately said, buy the shirt here, everyone was talking about it.
I mean,
I think it kind of used us. I'm not gonna lie. I think that and I have no proof of that, right?
I mean, but that was their intention. Thing about Telesto though, that I got told from someone that hey, you probably should keep an eye out. Like they got told by somebody like something's gonna be happening, and then the ball started rolling. So it's even they were it was hyped for not that even felt weird when by the time everything got fleshed out that it was there's kind of something, but then you're there's 100% not, it just is weird for a week like that. So it was the combination of challenges that bug the hell out of you. And then it's just a lot of what you guys are saying piling on for our 12th season that's for, the people like Travis, it's been, 2 years of the same, but it is, depending on how long or how invested you are, if you didn't love the Pirates, the season wasn't it for you. If the story didn't have a lot going on because the hideouts were short, you got 2 weeks that actually had something to say. You had the Nezarec cutscene, of which some people are who's Nezarec? Love to get a little more information on him, get a lore deep dive, get some talk from whoever, be oh, we've heard about, go talk to Zavala and get this history on Nezarec, something. You get not just Nezarec's mentioned, and nope, okay. And then you get 2 weeks later, the opening cinematic of the season on day 0 at 8 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. When we watch it, you're hey, I get to see Mithrax and Aramis sword fight. That's badass. Let me see when that happens. When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? Week 8. You get to see him fight. He pins her down. Bye. There you go. I'm going to let you go. Now, I get that's Mithrax, becoming a better, character. And he's actually, not going to be the one that kills her. But we literally starting in the season in damn near the same way, except Aramis could have woken up and walked out of Europa without us being there, and nothing would have changed.
We had our thumb up our butt when Mithrax was fighting her. I don't know what we were doing. It was crazy.
We're we got to let them duke it out, and Ido's no, don't get in there.
We were eating popcorn. It was crazy to me that we didn't intervene in any capacity.
Yep. So it's
bounced.
Yeah.
I was what are we doing?
So we have a weak story. We have bugs in a lot of, it's been a very buggy season in a lot of different aspects. Challenges were not well thought out, numerically, 50 ruffians, and then oh, there's a timer in there. Oh, you guys figured out the timer was taken away. That's kind of a little chop at the knees. So many little tiny, it was death of 1,000 cuts for me. That was the season.
Even if the numbers are well thought out and stuff like that, like Travis said, it's still chores. It's still not
chores.
It's it being 20 ruffians at the beginning of the season, it still sucks. It doesn't make it more fun. It makes it less grindy and less tedious, but it doesn't increase the enjoyment of the activity, right? It's it's still ultimately a very shallow objective for the season, and it's what are we doing in Destiny at this point? The answer is chores, and it's it's really weird.
Yeah, I don't expect season 19 to drastically change because typically in 3 months they never make that change. But I'm hoping this type of feedback for whatever's going on in Nightfall and season 21, I really hope they're starting to take some of the feedback now, because the sameness of the seasons, the way the content is delivered out, the time gating of the war table upgrade, whatever you're going to call it for the season, all of those things, as you guys are saying, it's you have to play exactly this way and go do these certain things every week if you're not going to, and it's just you are, as Cog, you've said it, Bungie is telling us you need to do exactly this way, otherwise not so much. Hey, shout out to Mano Dester in chat, by the way.
Mano, salute. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. And then to me, the good part, I always say, and it reminds me when we first started, is the community is voting with their engagement. That's what you gotta do. You know what I'm saying? And when I know it's a painful thing because We love this game. We love how it's the shooting. We love how it feels. When Destiny's right, it's amazing, right?
So airborne effectiveness,
except airborne effectiveness, everybody's upset with.
Now we ain't shooting so well.
Now we ain't shooting so well in air, and that's another big point of contention. That people
I was like,
really
and you don't even have, and this is 3 years of PvP. Pain piled on top of a PvE season that was weak, and this is just like straws breaking camels' backs all over the place.
Right, and again, is it as dire as during the Curse of Osiris? I'd probably say not. Then, when in terms of engagement, but we're starting to see the dip.
Yeah,
we're starting to see it now, and I'm like, that's how you get what you want. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully, this is what's going to be taken into account. And to your point, E, it's not going to be done in a season.
Yeah,
right?
19, you get comfortable. Like, just understand that that's what you're going to get. But like Lightfall and 21, they don't need to reinvent the wheel, but they definitely need to switch out the wheel and give us a new looking wheel, because something's got to change. Yeah,
kind of like that you mentioned Curse of Osiris too, because I think that was kind of like the catalyst for kind of what brought me on here, is like that kind of conversation, because I was saying something along the lines of, this is the lowest point in Destiny. Yes, Curse of Osiris.
You and Scarrow talking back and forth of which
I remember. I saw y'all going back and forth. Yeah.
I think what I meant by that ultimately, because I think we would definitely agree that the overall state of the game right now is a lot healthier than it was in Curse of Osiris.
Yes.
Right? Like, it was bad.
Yes.
It was bad back then. But like nowadays, we have, if the season's bad, you have a lot more stuff that you can do. Right? You got a ton of raids in the game right now. You got Grandmaster Nightfalls. You got weapon crafting. You go fight. You have tons of stuff to do. So I think the state of the game is better than Curse of Osiris. But I think when I look at Curse of Osiris and I look at how horrible everyone said it was, and I look at everything that came with it, I can't help but just kind of think, like, if we had a season right now that brought a new campaign, a new destination, a new raid, like, that would be considered one of the best seasons ever historically in the entire game. And so then people say, oh well, Curse of Osiris was an expansion, not a season. Like, that's semantics, because in year 1 of Destiny, like, we had 3 expansions in the first year, right? You would say vanilla was like the expansion, that was the Witch Queen, that was the Shadowkeep, whatever it was. And then Curse of Osiris and Warmind can, to a certain degree, be equated to seasons, right? They each lasted for, whatever, 4 months, and, brought whatever content with them. They were a little bit more expensive, but, to the point, like, I think in terms of like volume of content, Curse of Osiris was $20. Season of Plunder is 10.
Right.
I think from a value perspective, new content to play and new experiences to be had, I think Curse of Osiris brought more than double than Season of Plunder did. Brand new raid, brand new campaign.
Content. I know where you're going with it.
Right. I think.
Okay, I'll let you finish. Mm-hmm.
I think the whole point I was trying to make when I was talking about Curse of Osiris is kind of saying, if we got Curse of Osiris right now, like I think people would rather have a Curse of Osiris scale thing right now than they would rather have a Season of Plunder scale thing right now.
Yeah, you're talking scale. I know where you're going.
I'm sorry. I think the game was at a lower point, Curse of Osiris, for sure. Overall game health, terrible. It's brutal. But I mean, like, in terms of enjoyment, like, dude, I enjoyed the Curse of Osiris campaign a hell of a lot more than I enjoyed doing Touch Crash. I enjoyed the Curse of Osiris raid a hell of a lot more than I enjoyed doing the expeditions and the hideouts. Like, I enjoyed exploring Mercury a lot more than I enjoyed exploring the Elixni Quarter after we upgraded the staircase. And so it's like, that's a tough thing for me. And I think the game is definitely in a very difficult spot right now. And like you said, with PvP being compounded onto it, typically when the game was in a rough spot, it would be like, well, we're out of PvE stuff to do. We'll go play PvP for the rest of the season. But the combination of no new maps for a while, so it's feeling incredibly repetitive. There's no reason to be in the competitive playlist, which is maybe going to be fixed next season. We'll see. To me, it seems like just like a renaming of the ranks, as far as I can tell. But we'll see how it plays out. But I think airborne effectiveness has been really, really rough on the playlist, because I think it was a change intended to nerf higher skilled players so that casual individuals would have a more enjoyable time in the Crucible. But I think Destiny's selling point has always been like the harmonious combination of gunplay and movement.
Yeah.
And they broke the gunplay. So like I think when your guns feel horrible to use, I think it makes PvP feel so unenjoyable. And so I think with all the decisions that they've made, ending up to where we are right now, a lot of, all the PvE stuff feels like chores. Your guns don't feel like they shoot right in PvP. It's like it's hard to find a reason to want to log onto the game.
I see where you're going with the culmination of things and
Yeah.
the whole philosophy like we talked about earlier. What the quote unquote expansion style versus the seasonal model, but
kind of still like, I mean, the way he phrases that is like, what if we got the expansion in 2 seasons instead of 3, but those 2 seasons cost, a smidge, like, equivalents of like, what's the deluxe is $50 for the deluxe and everything, and then I think Nightfall's 50 or something, whatever it is. Basically, make like 2 seasons that are a little beefier and chunkier and tell a decent story, as opposed to the 3. I would pay 2. Yeah, you have more, kind of downtime. But if they could get PvP to a good state, it would help support, the longer break in between. But if it was, the expansions as opposed to 2 versus 3, it's like, what is the right number again? Because a lot of us are like, whether it's Travis saying, what is $10 going to get us? What is the time they can put in? How much time do they have to develop what content goes into a season? Is 6 months tight, but then you enjoy it for 3 months, but it's like 8 months and you enjoy it for 4. Like, what is that little window? And we've been doing the 3 month for so long outside of delays for expansions. I just wonder what it would be like if it was a little beefier, but a little longer break. I don't know. That's just kind of one. That's the whole debate of everything else.
I can't see them doing that because, like, with everything like Travis mentioned, like they've effectively put a shield around themselves where they're allowed to put in the minimum effort and not be reasonably criticized for it. And so I think they'll happily keep collecting these $10 for minimal effort seasons while because I think the theory, right, is that a lot of their teams are working on whatever these new IPs are.
Oh,
and so I think
I was like, it feels like that sometimes, and I don't want to say that, but it feels like that sometimes.
I know and like it's just speculation, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't know, and I'm not going to act like I know. But what is objectively fact is that Bungie is capable of putting out seasons with substantial amounts of content. We've seen them do it. Dawn is like one of the premier examples. Chosen was pretty good. Splicer was pretty good. They can put out really great seasons for $10 without any additional resource help, aka being away from Activision. They can do it. So it's like it's not like we're like, hey, you're not, this is the best you've ever done, but it's still not enough. It's like, we've seen the best you've ever done. Yeah. And you're far below it. And there's not really a good reason behind you being far below it. It's like, what's going on? And so it's like, there's not a lot of good explanations for that other than,
priorities.
Something must priorities. Be like priorities is a lot, it's not a lot of great explanations.
Yeah.
We know what they can do.
Yeah.
And I think that's why things have been so tough. That's why the community's been so difficult on them, is because they know what they're capable of.
Mm-hmm.
We're not being negative just for the sake of being negative. We're saying, hey, this is not me in the mark, and I know what you can do. So why is this what you're delivering to me? And I think the other thing that's sparking the boom is the narrative coming from Bungie's end. Because back when we were at the state of the game, back in Curse of Osiris, the radio comms from Bungie were, listen, we know it's not in a great place. We know you're not enjoying double primary. We know that the power grind is uninteresting. We know,
Correct.
It was, hey, things aren't great. We know that. We're going to work on it. We're going to fix it.
Right.
Now we're in that period of people are not enjoying the game. But from Bungie's end, it sounds a lot different than it used to.
Yeah.
We are long past the era of content droughts. It's back in the Witch Queen trailer. It was the Witch Queen is going to be the best year of Destiny in the history of the franchise. And so it's like when you're hearing all of these things from Bungie, you know, it's like, well, I don't feel that way at all. I feel like the game is so lackluster. I feel like these seasons are not not coming up to bat. But you're telling me that everything is perfect, so it gives the impression that Bungie's just going to keep on this path.
Right.
And if they think they think it's perfect, why would they deviate? So it creates a feeling of hopelessness to a much more significant degree than we had back in Curse of Osiris, where they were admitting of, hey, we're going to work on it, we're going to make it better.
The parallel was there? The damn engagement, which I keep telling people. The problem is they've been empowered, they've been emboldened because they haven't seen the dip. When you look at prior to this season, when you look at the engagement rate and most played, they're rocking and rolling. And for the hardcore that's upset, it's not being reflected as a whole. So they're going to cater to that whole until the whole says, you know what? The majority says, you know what? Nah, this is not it. This is not it. I will be back when you guys get it together. And this is the first time. And I hate to say it, but you have to vote with your engagement. And that's it. And it sucks because, obviously I'm saying that, but my boy E, man, you guys go full time with this game. You know what I'm saying? And I understand, the frustration there as a full-time content creator when the game is not, first of all, you're not having as much fun playing it, and as well as you're not giving you enough sufficient content to cover it in a cool way that affects the channel. And it's tough. It's tough. But I think ultimately that's the way you do it, because to your point, Mac, at that time, the community was like, we are good. This is not it.
They stopped playing. They turned it off.
You saw the videos. I'm a such and such main. I'm playing this main. Why I quit Destiny.
The infamous quitting videos or whatever.
You saw the video from the top guys. The top guys were like, we are good. And then it's like, okay, all right. Go fast update coming soon.
I wonder what their Warmind sale numbers were, because I bet they were.
These metrics are crazy. These metrics are still good. And that's the thing. They are emboldened. And until that happens, the message, the tone of the messaging is still positive, if you notice it with these things. And that's what
it's difficult.
I was just going to say, like, comparing, it's kind of funny. Beyond Light versus Witch Queen, they're not even close. Like, Witch Queen was so good, story, everything like that. But then if I list these off, I don't know what 19 holds. But the seasons after the expansion, Chosen, Splicer, and Lost. That's 1 year of, like, additional seasons versus
all pretty solid.
Haunted, Plunder, and we don't know. Unless 19 is a banger, like, Beyond Light seasons are going to absolutely crush all three of them. Because, like, Chosen was fantastic. Splicer, still pretty good. Lost, one of my favorite activities, and still a decent story, which we know is kind of going into. Granted, the delay hurt that one, and 30th anniversary aside, in 3-month bubbles, those all so far are beating the last last couple seasons. 19 basically has to be an absolute banger. Otherwise, Witch Queen, really good. Seasons that followed, not so much. But yeah, I was like, I think we can beat this, dead horse over and over if we want to. But I think we're all kind of in the agreement of, we've seen very good things in this past. We have moments of good stuff, like, with the animated cinematic where, we get to see a really cool embrace, or we actually get a tease about Nezarec. But we want more. We've seen them do better in the culmination of, Death of a Thousand Cuts, PvP not doing too well right now, and then just like bugs on top of other. It's just a lot of things piling up right now. And as you guys have said, now the numbers are starting to drop. Now there might be taking the feedback. Now, what are their engagement numbers looking like? Yeah, the new season trailer is going to be hype. We're going to have fun with it. I still have my hunch that the Lightfall expansion is going to be nudged a little bit. Is there some kind of, how do they handle some kind of a delay if that downward slope continues? Like, that's
what makes you think it's going to be nudged?
Honestly, just because they haven't done an expansion that fast in years. So if they can do one in 12 in that amount of time, and granted, they may pull it off, they may have more people, and they may have divided up their studio to make it work. Cool. And I would be happy to be surprised. Also, there's way too much stuff coming out in February, so if they bump it a little bit, it'll have a little breathing room, but that's a different story entirely. Mine's just a hunch, but mine's always like, when you look back, like, Shadowkeep was slightly delayed, Beyond Light was delayed more, Witch Queen was really delayed, and yet this one's going to go perfect 12 months for the first time in, like, 3 or 4 years, so it's just, but again, maybe they'll knock it out of the park and it'll be fine. But the way the bugginess of the seasons go, I don't want an expansion to be rushed if it comes buggy in the same way. That's all. So,
agreed.
I think Lightfall. I think Lightfall is going to be incredible the same way Witch Queen was. I think it's going to be an amazing story. Raid's going to be solid. Destination will be fun for a bit, and then after that honeymoon of like the expansion specific stuff wears off, I think we're just going to be back in the same cycle that we're currently in now, where the seasons just kind of suck until, like Cognito said, people stop buying them.
Yeah. And the problem is
tough, right? Because you're not going to tell people to stop buying them, especially as a content creator, because like you're not going to sabotage your own views, you're not going to sabotage your own engagement. But it's like
the reception is positive. So
if Bungie's making the same amount of money,
the cycle starts again, right?
If Bungie's making the same amount of money, it's like you don't really have a great reason to make a significant change.
Yeah. What's up with this TWAB? What's going on with this game?
So TWAB situation basically is giant sandbox update is the huge piece, and I'm going to hit some high notes. I'm not going to go through all of it because we'd be here forever. But first thing, they're doing a collaboration with Ubisoft. So Assassin's Creed and Destiny crossover. So in Assassin's Creed, I think it's Valhalla, I'm guessing, since it's the recent one, you're going to have both Saint 14 and Shaq's armor, I guess, that you can earn in Assassin's Creed. And I actually saw kind of a picture of what they look like in game, and they are basically spot on. So they nailed those. And then on our side, it looks like we're going to get different Assassin's Creed armors into Destiny. So that is probably going to be all over the Eververse next season. So you guys can look forward to that on December 6th when all that stuff's going to launch. They did a quick kind of overview of what's coming in and out of your big playlists, like Trials of Osiris is losing Reed's Regret, Nyasha's Embrace, and then it's gaining the Exalted Truth hand cannon and also the Unwavering Duty Suros. It's getting a machine gun. Iron Banner is losing the Forge's Pledge Pulse and the Shotgun Wristwalker, and we're going to be having access to the Dark Decider, which that sounds new. I didn't know if it was going to be
is Exalted Truth new? The hand cannon?
Yeah, that one's new, I think, as well.
So they're both new for Trials?
Yes. Yeah, because we haven't had a Trials machine gun. So yeah, both Trials weapons are new.
Kind of cool.
Yep.
That they're doing 2 new things.
Yep. Yeah. Ganora's Axe for the Slug coming back.
The bar has gone.
Well, listen.
Hey, we're taking our wins where we can get them, okay?
Has told me that I'm been too negative recently, so we're trying
to be positive. There you go. Nightfall.
We too hyped, Trav. We too hyped.
Point them to my Twitter if they think you're being too negative. I'll teach them what real negativity
is. That's balance right there.
What I always try to tell people is like I'm not negative or positive. I give my thoughts on things as they come up. So.
That's bullshit.
Oh my God. Nightfall.
First of all, having negative viewpoint, having negative opinions of things that are negative does not mean that you are negative. It just means things around you are shitty, and it's okay to notice that they're not good. I think people are being.
That's what I'm saying. But people will call you negative for doing that.
Well, maybe what I would say to those people is expect more from your games. Have a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, want your games to be good. Why are you apologizing? It bothers me.
It is okay to give constructive criticism. You just don't have to be an ass about it. That's
It's also okay to give deconstructive criticism. It's 100% fine to do that. People are just whiners. Anyway.
Nightfalls, we are losing Silicon Aroma and Duty Bound, both kinetics, and we're getting Wendigo, which is kind of a shock. And also Hung Jury. So I'll be curious what they do for Wendigo.
I'm actually pumped. I'm pumped about Wendigo, but like at the same time, it feels like a nostalgia grab the same way that Mindbenders was. And so it's I
need that jury. They're gonna give us an origin trait. Let's go.
Well, the problem with Hung Jury is 200 RPM scout rifles are way better than 180 RPMs in PvE right now. So like Hung Jury actually gets beat out by Nightwatch. So there's like not even a point to get it.
Hold on, so I'll be dusting off. What's the one this season that got the Volt shot with the Arc Scout? What's that? The new one?
Tarnished Metal or Tarnished Metal?
Yeah, I should be using that. So 180s took it out. I haven't used Scouts in a while.
Tarnished is actually pretty good.
So 200 RPMs have been better than 180s for like as long as I can remember, just because they just have higher DPS.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I will say the pursuit weapon
right now, moving things around.
Pursuit weapon is
in PvE
high
at
end
least.
PvE, high end PvE, right?
In PvE at least, I don't know like what the numbers are.
I'm not talking about
PvP.
PvP. Yeah, I'm not talking.
Yeah, okay.
I'm talking about PvE. So no, thank you for that. Oh, time to dust off that bad.
Pursuit weapon looks like a Hake pulse rifle. I'm a pulse guy, so I'll be curious how that one lands. I don't know if it's going to be a good pulse rifle, but it's still a pulse rifle that's going to have some perk choices, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And then we go into just kind of the art.
Stars and Shadows Hake?
I don't know if it actually has it on it. Somebody would literally have to look right now, but
or is that it's like the purple one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they go into basically a big idea about the update to a lot of things in the weapon sandbox, because while they're not going to tell us what's coming next season, even though we're going to cover that in the end because half of us kind of know, but sandbox is getting some changes.
Wait, we do?
Not entirely. There's some teases that seem obvious. That's all. I'll cover that. Towards the end. Yeah. But weapon archetype, sandbox, big changes. Shotguns. They've brought their range in a little bit, but basically they're trying to give them each family a fixed pattern of spread. So aggressives, you're going to have like a fixed even distribution. Precision's going to be more of a vertical oval. Lightweights are going to be a diamond. Rapid fire is going to be a square. I don't know how they decided on these things, but I guess we'll just see how they work out. Slugs, of course, are slugs.
I don't really know why they told us that, because no one's going to read that. And the people that do aren't going to remember it.
I was like, there's going to be like the Mercules, even though he works at Bungie now, and also shout out to Kit, who's now going to be starting there soon too. But yeah, it's your Fallouts, your PvP scientist people who are going to be analyzing this one and trying to understand where all of this stuff falls. Like the precision ones, where it's like a vertical oval. I'm like, all right, if you put that on somebody's like chest, in theory, the vertical oval is probably the best shot to hit somebody, you know, mostly in their body.
I don't know who's going into PvP thinking like, oh, I have to use a lightweight shotgun because it's, you know, it's got the diamond. It'll be better for rounding corn. I don't think anyone's going to do that.
I am so curious. I'm so curious to watch the PvP like crazy.
I think people make YouTube videos about it because it's content.
Yeah.
But I don't know who's going to be out here remembering like, oh yeah. You got to put on a precision shotgun. It's got the oval. Make it easier to.
Hardcore.
Yeah. Hardcores. I'm just curious. Yeah, I'm curious what the hardcores do. Sidearms, basically, they fix the zoom stat on Drang. Fusion rifles, they're basically nerfing main ingredient specifically. So they're working on that one. Glaives, they're taking the melee damage down, but they are buffing how they work with exotics, which is probably, I think, the balance. So
Glaives like super OP in PvP.
They can be strong. I've heard like
did they not? Did they? Because you get like a 99% DR, right?
Yeah, it was like 90. They brought that down.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, they brought that. Like, well, in PvE, I think it's like 97%. In PvP, I still think they brought it down too, though.
They changed it. Okay.
Yep.
Because I remember there was a time where like glaives were like a problem.
Yeah, terrorizing. I remember.
Yeah. Hand cannon, they specifically just kind of cover the stats for Rose. So for its adaptive hand cannon, they're changing it, they said, to feel a little bit more like a 150. So it's going to feel a little different, but fire a little slower.
And they mentioned airborne effectiveness specifically.
I know.
On it, which is like,
oh no, we're going to get to some of my airborne effectiveness questions. We're not there yet. I have some I have some of the weird, I don't understand why 2 airborne effectiveness bullet points are even exist, but we'll get there. Yeah, I have questions. I'm not even an airborne effectiveness PvE guy or PvP guy at all. And I'm like, why is this here? That's what I was like. I want somebody to sell me on
pushing back. Sorry, continue.
No. Yeah, you're not wrong. The perks like Dragonfly, Rampage, and Surrounded. The perks, the benefits you would get from the mods is just intrinsic how they work now. So like Rampage and Surrounded are a little long. Yeah, they're just in there.
Nice.
The mods will go away. Yep.
Great.
The blinding effect, especially for like photosensitivity, is going to be the way the arc blinding works instead of like actual messing with your screen. Perks that change. So Head Seeker, body shots now increase your precision multiplier and increase aim assist. Additional body shots, reset the timer. So again, I don't know if this is going to make a big difference until we know how much the precision multiplier increases. But I guess we'll just have to test and see. Encore actually sounds strong. Encore. Final blows now grant stacks of Encore and stacks stability, range, and accuracy. Body shot final blows grant 1 stack. Precision grants 2 stacks with a maximum of total of 4. It lasts 7 seconds, enhanced to 7.5. And if you get another final blow, it refreshes the timer. And basically, if you have all 4 stacks on, you can have 32 stability, 20 range, and about 5% accuracy. So if you can continually get kills with Encore, that is going to be a very stable, range-boosted weapon, whatever that thing's sitting on.
I think it'll be nice in PvP. I think it's still going to be useless in PvE just because the sheer fact it doesn't give you extra damage. There's, like, any perk that gives extra damage, like Kill Clip, Frenzy, Rampage, like, I think is always going to beat out the non-damage boosts, stability, range, accuracy. Like, it's just, people like seeing bigger numbers. People like seeing the health bars go down more quickly, and it's really tough to get them off that.
Yeah, especially if it's in this farther right column. If it's in that middle column, then people will tolerate it. But yeah, that's what you're saying.
All right, here's your first spoiler warning. In case it's not clear, I'll give you 5 seconds to bail on the podcast for the trailer for next week. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Seraph rounds will be appearing on more weapons next season, but in its current form and it's the strongest magazine perk by a large margin. So
I thought you were saying that like they just released the trailer.
No,
for it. Oh shit!
No, it's just like it's very blatant teases though.
I got so excited.
Sorry.
I was like, whoa,
that's
they're
still
not
probably
keeping it secret till day of.
With the stuff that they're telling us between a few different things, which we'll cover by the time we get to the end, they better put the trailer out before Tuesday morning. I'm like, you may as well. It's no point. So basically
you put me on a roller coaster right there.
That's why you're here. You got to be on the roller coaster that is playing.
I was about to be like, whoa.
It's like playing Destiny. It has its ups and its downs, and its ups and its downs. Tuesday's going to be an up. Right now we're in a down.
Yep.
But Seraph rounds will be offering +7 stability and +3 range. So for the magazine perk, pretty good. Tunnel vision is now going to be able to like be reinstated when you reload. But because of that, they're actually just bringing down kill clip. I think on the whole, so this is just a general nerf to kill clip.
Nerf to kill clip.
Yeah, so it's an 8% nerf. So kill clip's actually a little weaker now. Because of one other thing, which I think is strange. And then redirection, which I think will be a Deepstone Crypt perk.
Yes.
Basically, it's just going to kind of match a buff for minor spec.
Yes.
Buffs, we got Hawkeye Breach ornaments. Basically, and again, we have a Hawkeye Pulse Rifle coming in the Pursuit weapon. It's basically going to have increased damage against Ward of Dawn and Well of Radiance by like 30%. And then 60% when you get the Artifact mod, which they're saying there's probably going to be an Artifact mod for Hawkeye weapons like Origin Trade or something. So that'll be strong. And also Stasis Crystals by like 15%. Gutshot Straight. Now, this is one that, like, auto rifles, they always touch by, like, 0.01. Like, they do tiny changes to auto rifles. So the fact that Gutshot Straight for body shots is going to go from a 10% bonus to 20% bonus, I don't think is nothing. Because if you miss some of those body shots, theoretically, they're going to be more forgiving. Compulsive Reloader is also a wider margin. It's down to half of the magazine instead of, I think it was, like, a third. Again, don't hold me to all the facts, guys. If you're a scientist, I could be wrong, but I'm generally close. High impact frame. I don't even know if I knew this existed. High impact frame intrinsic perk can be hard to use since it switches off with little movement. We've tweaked this so that now slow movement, crouching, or strafing doesn't deactivate the perk.
I've never heard of any of that in the game.
I've never heard of any of that.
Yeah, I'm like, high impact.
I think that's made up.
So,
I think
it's one of those that somebody knows it, but I don't. So apparently,
I've heard that in my life.
Yeah. The funny thing is, during this entire podcast, Destiny servers have been down. So
yeah, I've been trying to use them.
Yeah, I've been reading that.
Yep. Ambitious Assassin is going to allow you longer between kills, so from 5 seconds to 7 seconds to keep getting that benefit. Well-rounded, increase the duration from 10 to 15 seconds, and stacking the effect still resets the timer, so you'll be able to hold that for a little longer. Recombination. Tweaks to make this function in PvP as intended. Now it grants up to 100% bonus at max stacks in PvE, 50% in PvP. I don't remember what recombination does. I know it's a Deepstone Crypt perk, though.
Right? You get kills with your other weapons. It gives you a stacking buff that increases the damage of your next shot with whatever your recombination gun is. So it's like, the idea is like you'd have a recombination shotgun.
Yep.
And you'd get kills with like anything other than the recombination shotgun, and it would give you stacks. And when you would fire a shot with the shotgun, the first shot would be increased by however many recombination stacks you have.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know what the original damage buff was though. It said up to 100. I don't know what it was before.
Yeah. Basically, Zen Moment, which still nobody knows what it does. Basically, it no longer deactivates on a miss. It just has a 1 second timer. So if you're missing like a bullet here or there, it's still going to kind of keep its trajectory going. Divinity will now work with rewind rounds. So if that's doing its thing, that will be kind of functioning as intended. Genesis now triggers on breaking player shields. One quiet moment, faster activation after a final blow. So if you have like a final blow, it's going to have a shorter window that you need to get your quick reload. Gun and run's going to be fixed. They've mentioned that before. Nerfs, box breathing. They reduce the damage on scout rifles. I'm like, that is such a niche case, but fine.
Yeah.
Unstoppable force on glaives. They reduce the damage bonus from 30 to 20%. 1-2 punch. Would you like to take this one? He's like, no, don't make me talk about it. They reduce the bonus melee damage as follows: from 3x to 2x versus most enemies with unpowered melee, from 1.8x to 1.4x versus most enemies with charged melees, and they reduce the bonus against bosses from 0.5 to 0.25. So 1-2 punch got kicked in the nuts, basically.
Yeah, it's pretty much, I think it's half across the board. So against normal enemies, it was 200%. So now it's going to be 100%. And then against bosses, it got hurt a lot. So it used to be 350%. Now it's going to be 150%.
Yep.
I have no idea what the middle line means, though, because charged melee damage is not affected differently than uncharged melee damage when it comes to 1-2 punch. It might be talking about cross counter from Liar's Handshake specifically.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Because cross counter with 1-2 punch is an 80% buff specifically, which is equal to 1.8x. So maybe it'll just be 40% now. Or they might be Titan Void Shield Bash might fall under that category too. I'm not sure.
Those are probably the
I know
two. That makes sense.
Because like I've been doing a ton of testing with it recently because I'm making the Arc playbook video and whatnot. But I know for a fact combination blow is not like negatively impacted by the 1.8x, or it wasn't before. So I don't really know what they mean when they say like charge melees.
Yeah, that'd be my guess. It's just melee abilities.
We'll see.
Enhanced perks, some of them are actually getting to fit a little more with what they do. Like Enhanced Unrelenting, you actually get 5 health regen instead of handling. Perpetual Motion, they basically allow you to get your stacks faster from moving. Trying to think of some of the other ones that were good. There's little changes to enhanced perks, but they just seem to fit a little bit more. Like Grave Robber, instead of reload, it's handling, which makes sense because you hit the punch and then you get the handling buff. Explosive Light, they added another stack, basically, with Explosive Light. So little ones that seem to actually make a little more sense with enhanced perks. And I think this is Bungie going, all right, we're going to give them like really obscure bonuses that don't really affect anything. Okay, this isn't actually breaking stuff. All right, now you can have stuff that's a little better when you enhance things. So they're opening up the gates just a little bit.
Yeah. Exotics.
Yeah, and then exotics is the big one. So the fundamentals perk, which is the one where you can switch damage type for Borealis, Hardlight, and Dead Messenger. It didn't do everything I wanted. Or didn't do what I wanted. I wanted to see like Arc get Volt Shot, Solar get Incandescent, Void maybe get Repulsive Race.
You'd have broke Hardlight.
I know, I would have broke the game, but I would have had some
fun. At least
fun.
Solar gets plus 20 airborne effectiveness.
Hey, there you go, big win.
Messy.
But Arc, basically
the game
it works.
Is saved.
Yeah, they're kind of going into an elemental capacitor now, so you'll still be able to switch. But if you're on Arc, you get more handling and a little bit of range. Solar, you get a lot of reload speed and AE bonus. And Void, you get stability and aim assist. So it's giving you a little bit of elemental capacitor paired with everything else it already does. So it's just a bonus on top.
Elemental capacitor light. That's what we doing.
Yep. Jade Rabbit, still don't know if this is going to be good, but it says quickly landing 3 crits, returns a round to the magazine, and increases the damage of your next body shot. So I guess if you're just going for crits and then you miss one on accident, it should be stronger. Theoretically, it stacks up to 3 times. So at least it's probably it. I guess what bugged me about that before, it rewarded you missing a crit, which is what a scout rifle shouldn't do. Now, if you miss on accident, it won't be quite as painful, which I think is probably better. Nerfs. 3 weapons dominated the raid exotic weapon usage. Arbalest, Divinity, and Witherhoard by a massive margin, and Izzy's was probably close. So they're going to be doing some things. And then also the PvP exotics, Witherhoard, Forerunner, Jotun, Telesto, Chaperone. There's certain ones that stand out, so they're making some changes.
Forerunner, your time has come.
Yeah. So Witherhoard, you're still going to be able to do the direct hit damage, I think. But the portal on the ground is going to last for 3 seconds less. We already know about Divinity. It's going down to 15%. But you can still have the cage paired with, like, deadfall, like Tether or whatever. Arbalest, basically they're reducing the body shot damage, so you need to hit your precision shots. Gallahorn, this one actually kind of hurts.
Galley.
Reduce the primary rocket's impact and detonation damage by 25%. Wolfpack rounds are still as strong as they were. They just said it was too high of a DPS rocket. And then Forerunner.
Galley.
Yeah. Forerunner, they reduced the base damage from 40 to 37, crit from 72 to 67, basically keeping it reasonable. As for buffs, quite a few.
Dude, I have to say, I think it's so wild that they put a graph of raid exotic weapon usage and Arbalest being literally doubled in the next highest thing, and then in the nerf section they just say a PvP specific nerf.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and by the way, vote for these Arbalest ornaments that you can buy next. It's like it's so. I don't know.
Travis is laughing at that one.
Well, it's like because I don't really care whether or not like they nerf weapons or not anymore. Like 2016, 2017 Mac was all over that. I don't really care. I'm just going to use the guns are the way they are, and I don't really care much. And I'm happy that they're not just like defaulting into nerfing things based on usage percentages, because I think that's a very bad way to buff and nerf things. But it's like, it's so weird to me that it's like, oh, okay, Witherhoard is 12.5% use. Arbalest is at like 27. And Arbalest is like clearly, in my opinion, the best exotic weapon in the entire game for GMs. Second best for raids. And it's the most used by far, and they're not touching it. It's kind of, it's really weird to me. But then like they're destroying Witherhoard, and I'm just like, it just seems so odd.
Yeah.
Are you implying that there could be some potential connection with the ornament of Arbalest and the potential financial ramifications involved?
I'd be called a hater. I can't say it.
Thought that was interesting.
They call me toxic. I don't. I guarantee 3 months after the ornament, Arbalest is getting put in the ground.
Okay, we just gotta get that ornament. We gotta get that ornament checked first.
Guarantee it. They're gonna collect their cash, and then Arbalest is gonna go.
Okay, so make sure tests.
We need to remember this moment here, because come season 22 or whatever it's gonna be after that ornament goes on sale, gonna have to come back and check the receipts here. It'll be fun. Yeah, the season after the ornament goes on sale, Arbalest is gonna get nerfed in the patch notes, like in the big patch notes for that upcoming season. Yeah, season 22, just like the sandbox for 22, like this. Yeah, that's where it's happening.
21 is when it's coming out, right?
I think that's what they said when it's going to release and go on sale. So I think they need like 2 seasons basically to develop it.
Yeah, you likely won't see this design in Destiny 2 until season 21.
Yep.
So if that's the case, season 22 patch notes, Arbalest nerf.
All right, here is one of my biggest questions, and I want to see somebody try and sell this to me, because I don't get it. On 2 heavy sniper rifles, Whisper of the Worm, and Darcy, they increased base airborne effectiveness to 80. Now, let me paint a picture for anybody who doesn't know what I'm doing. You're going through a PvP match right now. Heavy ammo comes up. You don't get the box. Never mind, that heavy's still sitting there. Heavy, okay, you're running around that box a little more. Oh, you got another heavy box. Okay, you actually pulled heavy. Now, to take advantage of this buff in airborne effectiveness, you probably need to be on a certain class, maybe Warlocks, potentially, who can float in the air, hang out, get a good shot, or have a certain exotic on, maybe like Lion Rampant, so you can get some good AE. And you want to get that one sniper shot with your heavy weapon that you've been waiting on this whole time for a clip. That's the only time that I can imagine that this thing is going to get used. Why the hell else is 80 airborne effectiveness on a heavy sniper? What is it for? Somebody explain this to me. I think
they're just trying to like justify airborne effectiveness further by painting more ways that you can theoretically build into it. So they can be like, oh, for you folks that are, upset that you can't snipe out of the air in Destiny more, it's okay. All you have to do is equip Whisper of the Worm or Darcy, wait for Heavy to spawn, and then boom, you can snipe out of the air. Destiny feels the same again. Ta-da! And it's like, I think they're just hiding.
3 words. 360 no scope.
Oh, okay. That's what I said.
Why?
Montage reel and clips. Yep, right there.
Montage reel, clips. Actually, could it be because isn't there a class that floats in the air for a little bit? Warlock? Can it be that?
Yeah, Solar Warlocks. Yeah, Floof Gang.
Yeah.
Heat Rising.
I don't know what crackheads are running snipers in their heavy slot post tier 1 though.
Yeah, I'm like, what is it? Oh, no. Like, I
don't know who's picking that over a rocket.
No one. Now, granted, does anybody think
MLG players?
Does anybody think Jolt on Darcy is going to be the savior for Darcy?
That's OP.
That's a good perk. That's a good perk, bro. Jolt is
busted.
I know Jolt is good, but I don't think.
I
was like, Darcy weird. Is so bad. I don't think Jolt can save it. Is my point.
It's so weird.
That's weird. They've just committed to. Sadly, E, and I know where you're going. They just committed to the long. They hate the long distance. Pick the ball.
Oh, I know. Apart. Yeah,
and snipers are still at the boot of their buffs. Like I
don't get it though, because
snipers in PvE just suck. They do. They are not good.
I'm pretty sure Darcy gets out damaged by special snipers.
Oh, it's terrible. It is terrible.
So just make Darcy a special sniper. Like what? Why? I don't get why they're keeping it in a heavy slot. It is so weird to me that like they keep that weapon down there.
Oh, but you have to have personal assistant on, which means you need that like 1 or 2 or half, whatever that 1 second like lock on is. You still need that, then you'll get it. But yeah,
right. It's like a box breathing Jolt in a way.
Yeah, I think the power fantasy is like as you're aiming at the enemy, you're like charging up the Jolt.
Charging it up, and then boom.
And then you go to the next guy to charge up the Jolt to him and arc wave.
Those are some good snipers, that and Whisper, man.
Or you could play Arc Hunter and roll around and punch everything and proc Jolt every 0.1 seconds.
That too.
Prospector is getting heavy ammo. Yeah, Prospector is getting chain reaction, so you're just going to be able to clear out a room if you want to, but I don't know if it's great. Merciless, they said
what's chain reaction do again?
Chain reaction, just when you get when an enemy dies, they explode and kill something else.
Oh, yeah. It's
so like if you spray that thing and let go,
like
just
Firefly, but like grenade launcher. Right? Sort of like better Firefly for
better arc Firefly.
Yeah.
The decreased recoil by 50% on Fourth Horseman. Still going to be kind of niche for its uses, but you're not going to be using that in high level PvE. Forerunner in PvE. Now this could be interesting if there's like a sidearm champion mod or something at some point. Forerunner is the one place where you could actually use it because they increase the critical damage by 30, and then the grenade.
What is the rock?
It's the little grenade that you get from the catalyst. It's like the frag grenade. They just call it. They can't call it the Halo thing, and it's a kinetic grenade. It's not an energy grenade, so it's its own weird thing. The ammo cost to activate the rock is 6 to 4, and then they also increase the outer edge of the explosion by a little bit. So they're just buffing Forerunner in PvE. Rat King's radius is basically up to 20 meters instead of 15, so that in PvE is going to be a little stronger. Bastions reduce the spread angle by 6%. Legend of Acreus, they reduce the movement penalties, which I never knew were technically there, but I did feel, now that I think about it, I was like, you do feel just like sluggish with Legend of Acreus, so now you will be a little faster. Quicksilver Storm, I don't know what's going to happen when we get the Catalyst in Nightfall, but it does seem like the rocket is going to go from arc to kinetic, which was a bug. But they increased the PvP maximum grenade damage from 80 to 120 and the explosion radius by 1 meter. Cold Heart's Arc 3.0 actually seems like it's going to get better. So they reduced the cooldown on Ionic Trace generation from 3.5 to 2 seconds, almost half. It now maxes out stability and reload speed at max damage. And then if you pick up an Ionic Trace, it actually reduces the time it takes to get to max damage.
Even though they had Ionic Traces, I haven't been paying Cold Heart no man.
Yeah, I was like, Cold Heart actually might feel all right. Now, this is one of those buffs, if you ever see one, when it's a 50% buff, you know it was weak, and it felt that way. Grand Overture, 50% bonus to missile damage.
It's probably still going to be weak.
It's still probably going to be weak, but yeah. Xenophage gets a kind of an odd split of damage between explosion and impact. Now it's a bit of both, but overall damage is going up by about 5%. And I'm like, hey, if you're not nerfing Xenophage, I'm fine with it. Let's see.
I think they should just take it back to its old state. Like, I don't even know why they nerfed it in the first place. It was not overpowered by any stretch of the imagination. It's like, I don't really know. I wish they would just take it back to what it used to be.
Yeah,
because it felt like a decent weapon used, and it wasn't like busted. It wasn't a top tier DPS weapon by any stretch of the imagination. So I still don't get why they dropped it down so much.
Let's see. Yeah, the Lightning Storm from Cloud Strike can hit the Divinity Cage. Worm God Crest and Winter's Guile reduce their maximum damage multiplier from 7.5 to 3.5, so that's massive.
Salter Greppa's fault.
Of course.
Exclusively.
100% him only.
Watching him beat GM Glassway in like under 6 minutes, just worm godding everything, is wild.
Yeah, gotta stop that fun.
Yeah,
that's him. Yeah, it's actually sweet.
Gerfalcon, they gain volatile rounds when exiting invisibility instead of a damage bonus. And then when executing a finisher while invisible, this exotic now gives nearby allies an overshield. So I think it's volatile rounds instead of a damage bonus when the invisibility happens.
Yeah, so that's actually going to be probably the strongest Void Hunter exotic for a rating, to be honest. I actually, like, literally when I read that patch note, I added like a video to my schedule to make, because like I think this is going to be such an impactful change. Because you'll just go Stylish Executioner on Void Hunter, and so you'll start your invis chain, you'll dodge, you'll throw a smoke bomb at your feet or whatever, and then you'll start shooting your gun, which will exit your invisibility and give you volatile rounds. Your volatile rounds will stick onto targets, you'll kill those targets, and then since they have a void debuff on them, Stylish Executioner will re-invis you, and then that loop just permanently keeps rotating. So I think this is actually going to be ridiculously strong
for solo player. I can see that big. Jeez.
Solo players, I think it'll be amazing for the Lightfall Day 1 raid. I don't think it's gonna be as good in GMs, because GMs you're not killing quite as frequently.
Yeah.
You want to go more defensive stuff typically there. But I think this will be the #1 hunter exotic in raiding, like by a pretty sizable distance as well.
Heard it here first, everybody. Unless season 19 drops a banger, go grab that thing. Things to look forward to.
I mean, if the hunter exotic trend follows, whatever exotic we get in season 19 will probably be disabled.
Fair point.
Same way that Blight Ranger and Gerfalcons were for when they got introduced. So we'll probably be safe.
Yeah. Things to look forward to: a heavy weapon damage rebalance, tinkering with bringing some less effective options up and some outliers down. Basically, what's the Lightfall DPS meta? Nobody knows. A large rebalance of airborne effectiveness stat, and Mercury specifically addressed this on Twitter, making primary ammo weapons significantly more accurate while airborne without any investment in the stat. Think Icarus level before season 17. Making some tweaks to shotgun reticles, and then a pass at adding subclass 3.0 verbs to several weapons. There are currently 7. So I'm guessing that's like Sunshot, for example, is a primary one. Risk Runner would probably get like Volt Shot. So you've got certain ones I would imagine they're tweaking to go along with their verbs. That would be my guess.
I didn't see that section when I read this originally. That airborne effectiveness point, like, I don't know what future means in this context, but like, that needs to come like now.
I was gonna say, like, it's probably as fast as they can get it done.
Hopefully with the ranked playlist reintroduction, because like that could do a lot of good. I think it's fine to not be able to like have good airborne effectiveness with one-hit KO weapons like shotguns and snipers. Like, you can maybe make that argument, but like primary ammo weapons have been feeling so crappy, and I think like saving that could like just make PvP feel infinitely better.
Thoughts?
So it's like anything that is all of the buffs and nerfs outside of change to invisibility, which is they're basically going to change the range of the radar functionality while you're invisible. Interesting. But outside of that, Travis, like, you got any thoughts on anything? Any exciting high points, low points?
This I always wait to play out at this point because I've tried to comment on how I thought things were going to feel, and I'm wrong like 70% of the time. So I'm just going to wait and play it. I'm going to play it in. I'm going to play it in the game before I make any assumptions. But I will say,
I respect that.
I got the Iron Lord title.
Holla.
Let's go. And it was a thoroughly unenjoyable experience. I gotta say, the Crucible sandbox right now feels.
You told me, bro. Yeah,
it feels very bad. I know. I was messaging you guys on Twitter about it. I was just like, why is this? Why is it? Anyway, I'm the Crucible refresh, the ranked playlists, all that stuff could not come soon enough, my friends. That's all I have to say. Because I want. If I don't like Crucible, I mean, what are we even doing here?
What are we doing?
This is the reason I've been playing Destiny all this time, is so I can dab on some people in my cool loadout. So yeah, I'm gonna take a little break from Destiny until we get the new season. When is that? Next week? Is it next week?
Yeah, 5 days.
God damn.
Yeah.
Just when I think I'm out, they pull me back.
Yeah, they got you. Got your $10.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I mean, none of us here are buying $10 season passes. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah. I already bought the $100 Nightfall thing. Are you kidding me? So,
yeah.
Of course I own all of that already.
Ago.
Well, right, but they get your $10 one way or another.
Yeah.
They find a way. They get you.
I feel like they get 6 or something. How much did I pay for Witch Queen?
It was 80. It was 80. You just didn't pay extra for the dungeons, but you paid normal for the seasons. That's the difference. Your dungeons were just in the package.
I'm wondering what the heavy weapon Nightfall DPS meta will be, because like that patch note screams like obvious linear fusion rifle nerf. I don't know how they touch rockets, because rockets are in second place right now, and I'm wondering. That'll be interesting to see how things get shaken up. To see if like we go to like a GL meta or maybe like a machine gun meta potentially.
I would love a machine gun meta. Bring me machine guns. I am there. I know
that for like 2 years.
I know they've been trying to bring machine
gun meta, guys. It's come. I'm telling you,
they have been trying to bring those up forever, and they just can't seem to get there.
We got was Overload. They're like, here's Overload. Shut up.
The difficulty in like bringing forth a machine gun meta is you can't really justify having machine guns be like the #1 DPS option because they also have the most ammo. So the only way machine guns can really be the meta is if these DPS phases are like 60 seconds long, and you need like a DPS meta where like you need to pick a weapon that has endurance rather than burst. So I'm wondering how they tinker with that. But I think linear fusions are definitely going to get hit pretty hard because they are like they're mountains above everything right now.
Yeah, I was like, I can see linears coming down, especially as easy as Taipan is to get. It's a literally free gun for the world. And it's like the baseline of what DPS could be, and it's damn good. Like that's probably one of those that'll bring down linears, I'm sure. Which is a shame because they were crap for so long. They finally be like, hey, they're fun now. Nope, too much. But that's how it's I think for me the biggest thing is like I don't care what the DPS meta is, because like we'll find whatever we kind of like. Make heavy ammo reliable, because whether you're a solo player or you're in a raid, it's like, hey, what's this encounter? It's like, well, I don't have heavy ammo right now. I'd love to see that a little fix for Nightfall, because, you know, I don't want to have to depend on one exotic and finishers.
They had that at the beginning of the game.
I was about to tell you that. To be honest, it's low key broken. When I got a collective obligation with the crew this week, I've been running a primary Luminar build. Bro, I'm swimming in heavy bricks. So that buff that they did with primary exotics generating the the scavenger perk, the finder perks,
ammo finder.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's linear fit. I'm like littered with purple. I was Pac-Man during every after I go through the phases with Rogue. So yeah, it's a little way skewed that way. But I agree. If you're not using
there's just some inconsistent moments, and I would just like this consistency. I guess like there are times
I think you brought up a good point. Like, it's really annoying that, like, I think Aeon's is way too strong to the point where, like, Bungie either has to design things around it, in which case you have to have it equipped, or you're going to suffer, or they don't design things around it, in which case you're just spewing heavy at every single thing 99% of the time. Your other 2 guns don't matter.
Yeah, like, your ammo economy for your, for a third of your weapon should not be based on one exotic piece of armor. That's not... Because then you're going back even farther, and it's like, we're already tired of champions, we're already tired of certain things that we got to use. don't tell me to use one piece of armor in a raid and basically screw over every other exotic. So that's always annoying. Hunter invisibility is basically when you're invisible, the outer ring, not the 2 wedges, but the outer ring, you will not be able to see that radar information, which caps you at 24 meters. And they're basically saying this will kind of basically take away the information you've got of where players possibly could be. Because that 24 to 64 meter range, you get no information outside of that. So you've got close information, but not ranged information. I don't know if that's going to matter if somebody can still see me pop out and they're invisible and they snipe me, but I guess we'll see how it goes.
I think I'm happy that they did a nerf that, because it's a huge problem in PvP, and I'm happy they did a nerf that doesn't destroy it in PvE. I think it's interesting though that that the way they nerfed it was instead of taking away some of or like making, because typically when they nerf stuff, it's like, okay, your potency becomes less because you can't do this anymore. So like, you know, maybe they make you appear on the radar permanently even when invisible, right? But instead they decided to say like, okay, there's now a consequence that you have to face for going invisible. And like you said, I don't really know if it's going to fix it, but I hope it does, because I know PvP players have been having a very unfun time with invisibility.
Somebody said Gerfalcon's and a Void Sniper. I'm like, oh god, don't. Oof. Next season, that just sounds like it's going to be rough. For this season's mods, I'm going to just read this, and you guys can let me know if anything sounds fun. In Season 19, it's time to give a little love to Stasis, since how many of us called that, by the way? Art 3.0, Solar 3.0, Void 3.0. I wonder what's going to happen in Season 19. Little love to Stasis. Not really shocking, but kind of expected. Anti-champion is going to be hand cannon, scout rifle, bows, pulses, autos, SMGs. They're also going to have unstoppable grenade launchers, which I don't remember that, but it's okay. You got Lucent Finisher.
It was back when Anarchy was super OP.
Oh, well,
it was in the Breach and Clear season.
Well, that's coming back too, so we're getting to that. A version of that's coming back, but it's based on. So the Lucent Finisher mod for heavy ammo. So they just talked about what I mentioned. Since they don't want to make it consistent, they'll make it a mod. Sorry. They're including a version of Passive Guard that works with glaives, because before it was Passive Guard with swords. So if you had a sword on and equipped, you were pretty hard to kill. So they're going to do that with glaives. And also a reprisal of Breach and Clear that is designed to interact with Void. I have no idea what that means.
Wait, can I back up for a second? We getting all of these anti-barrier mods for all of these guns. That seems like
anti-champion.
Anti-champion.
Oh, okay. I thought it was anti-barrier. I was like, okay.
Like it could be scouts and bows.
Anti-barrier? I was like, where's the overload?
Six anti-barrier guns, unstoppable grenade launcher, and for overloads, good luck.
Okay, got it. My bad.
Exactly.
Continue. Continue. I read that wrong.
They did.
I also think it's funny that they said we're going to give a lot of love to Stasis, and then they said we're going to do a reprisal Breach and Clear that's designed specifically for Void 3.0. That doesn't seem very Stasis friendly.
Can you imagine, since we have the Seraph weapons coming back, if they had like Warmind cells, but they were Stasis cells?
Oh, that would be hilarious.
Oh, and they explode and they freeze everything?
They explode and freeze everything.
That'd be cool, though.
That'd actually be kind of sick.
And then you make like Stasis crystals that you could pick up for all those like buffs people are doing.
Oh, you talking, Bill? You talking fun? You know,
I mean, this could be fun. This could be fun. I don't know.
Relax on all this fun.
I'm sorry. It's too much, too hopeful. But I mean, that'd be cool. Like, what if you equip a mod and all of a sudden Warmind spells cause stasis explosions instead of the other?
You gotta look at the analytics.
That would actually be sick.
How many bosses got wiped too quick? Relax.
I mean, just saying. That's funny. But they said they are trying to experiment with some mods that don't follow their usual patterns. That could have been my most exciting sentence of this entire TWAB, because I am so tired of like the same format of the artifact for like 12 seasons. I'm like, mix up the season pass, mix up the artifact. I know they got their like, this is what works, but need a little, but they got some interesting ones. They said, be on the lookout for artifact mods for the chest and leg, then grant bonuses to resiliency and mobility. That'll be interesting. We also have a helmet mod that grants additional airborne effectiveness. They are leaning so hard into airborne effectiveness. It's
you gonna eat this airborne and you're gonna like it.
The monochromatic
your vegetables that we told you is good.
Yeah, definitely eating your vegetables. The monochromatic Maestro mod in the class item slot rewards you generously for using weapons and subclasses that match their damage types. No idea
What's
how
that name.
Monochromatic Maestro. I don't
know. who named that mod?
Somebody was just going for alliteration more than anything, I think.
Ooh.
We've even got a mod aimed specifically at solo players. Hello. Which should be very useful in tackling those lost sectors to get just the right rolls on that exotic you're looking for. Hey, the fact that they have a mod for solos, I'm like, all right, you're thinking outside the box a little bit.
That's actually good. I hope it's not just like increased percentage of exotic drop in lost sectors.
It's just alacrity that stacks on with alacrity. It's just alacrity of a different name. For the three designs for Arbalist, it's Synthweave, right? We're going Synthweave.
I'm going Synthweave.
Because we got Historic, Black Armory, and Synthweave.
Synthweave is kind of fire. Yeah, that's like very expungy, very seasoned of the splicery. You know, I mean, I got an outfit to match the Historic and the Black Armory.
I just like that color pattern just goes hard.
Yeah, but now it can't front. Synthweave is it's kind of tough, very light.
I wish it had the scope of the most recent one though.
Yes, that scope is nice.
The circular scope.
I
love that.
I'm sad that they're all three of the designs have the.
Well, maybe they'll mix that one up. Maybe they were just going off the base model first, and the scope was minor thing. So
that's a good point. Yeah, they can always tweak it.
Yeah.
So we got to vote for these three.
Yeah, not coming out for a year after all.
Yeah, it'll be a minute. The email is going to come out on December 5th, basically alongside your highlights for the season. So look for that on Monday, and you'll be able to vote for looks like about a week, something like that.
What you going with? Everybody's going Synthwave?
I'm going Synth because Black Armory looks like a shader. I mean, it literally looks like the Jarmenica. It looks like the Jarmenica shader, like the black and red one.
You do.
While Historic actually looks kind of cool and ornate, just Synthweave feels better on Arbalist for whatever reason. I don't know. It's just, and you got like a cool purple fuchsia railgun. Yeah, it's like
I think Arbalist 2, it has ornaments already in the game that kind of have a very similar color pattern to Historic.
Yeah,
and it doesn't have anything that looks anywhere near Synthweave in any capacity at the current moment.
I would be happy that being my primary.
Yeah, no doubt. I think it's consensus.
And hey, it's a kinetic weapon. It's your first weapon, so when you're looking at your character, you're gonna be holding it. So I'm good.
I'm going with the light.
Oh, that actually looked crazy in the character menu.
Character preview screen, right?
I didn't even think of that.
Yep.
Woo. Oh yeah. I'm with you.
But yeah,
that's what Black Armory though. They fighting back. They like that Black Armory.
Okay. So last thing,
give them a bucket of paint. Same thing.
Yeah.
So this is where if you want to tune out now, thank you, Mac, for being here. It's at MacticsG1 on Twitter. Go find him on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, all that stuff. All I want to do is talk about speculation for season 19. So if you don't want to be here for that, you know where to find most of us, and please go follow him. And please watch that video on the 10th. Just go watch the intro. Intro looks so fire. Shout out to that. But season 19 speculation. I'll give you guys about 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So we have Seraph rounds. We have the sweeper bots in the Elixir quarter. If you put their biceps together, like the little panels on their biceps, it's the Warmind symbol. And then the pictures actually that I sent to these two, my co-hosts, if you go and watch the cinematic with the worm on Zavala's table, and it has the characters, one of them's a bit of a stretch, but the first character is going with the first season. It was Lord Saladin. Then the second character goes with Season of the Haunted. It was Eris. Third character was Saint. We just got a cool thing with him and Osiris and stuff. Fourth character is Anna Bray. Season 19 has got to be, I'm going to say it right now, if it's not about Rasputin in any aspect, they're just mean at this point.
I don't know. Was this season really mainly about Saint, though?
I don't know if it's specifically about Saint, but
I feel like that's a big stretch. If the character was Drifter, then I think, we're...
I agree.
But I would say,
we got a pattern going. I think Saint kind of breaks that theory pattern.
He could
and
be,
turns the first two into a coincidence.
The only people that could be standing...
I was like, That's a conspiracy theory.
Okay, but the only people that could
People
be
are reading way
standing
too much into it. Yeah.
But the only people that could be standing in Zavala's room, Drifter won't be in there because he's typically not invited. Mithrax wasn't even around, but Mithrax and Saint are like simpatico. They're buddies.
Yeah.
So that's the closest you're gonna get. I know it's a stretch.
It's a stretch.
It's a stretch.
It's a stretch. There's no doubt.
I'm not arguing the stretch, but I'm just saying the Warmind symbol on the sweeper bot biceps. Now that screams Rasputin. And also you've got.
Gotcha.
Ebontis, you're the guy with the Bible who's like, I know what day the Earth's gonna end.
Wow!
Let me tell
if you've ever wondered if Travis escalated something quickly, this is one of those moments.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think you're reading too much into it. Maybe put the Bible down. Put the Bible down. Maybe go play a game of.
So Anna Bray. Anna Bray, whatever you think. At some point, Rasputin was put into an engram. We're trying to find him a body. That was a thing that happened out there at some point. We haven't talked to Clovis in a while, who ran all the exos, trying to make him a body. Deepstone Crypt. We're going back into Deepstone Crypt for the raids. We're going to be running that one for all the crafting. Vex. We're like, hey, what's the new dungeon going to be about? Feels like Vex is due. Now, Vex are part of what helped create, right? Vex were part of the things that helped create the exos. All of those things. Come on.
I
know. I need my tinfoil hat on right now, but I don't have one.
To be clear, I think you're right that it's going to be Rasputin themed. I think we're going to get Rasputin in a sexy exo body, etc. I just think that specific one that you cited is bullshit, and people are just looking for too much stuff. That's all. I just think that specific point is. You already had enough evidence. You already had the sweeper bots. You have the Seraph rounds. You didn't need to throw in the.
Why is the body sexy?
Yeah, you didn't
That's Travis's thing. He's got to make it sexy.
Well, it's going to be sexy because Destiny's been barreling toward being a dating sim for years now. It's coming, boy. We already have characters making out and playing.
It's on now.
It's on. It's sexy. I'm sad I missed that part of the conversation. I'm sure that's how we opened with it, and I was looking forward.
Wait, who's making out other than?
Well, you missed it. You missed that.
Osiris.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. No, but who other than them is smooching?
I mean,
they've been flirting. They've been flirting going on.
I guess Shax and Marisov, right?
Shax, but Caiatl be going hard.
Caiatl going hard on that Zav.
Caiatl and Zav.
What? Zav, bro? Oh, dude. Dude.
Of course, she hurt him.
Hand on the shoulder.
Dude, are you serious, dog?
Trauma? Oh, that's
right, never mind. You're right.
No,
season of Tinder. That's on me. I didn't know. Bro, with the program, you got me. That's irrefutable. That's a lot better than this cutscene conspiracy. I'm on board with that one.
Yeah, you didn't see the ghost message from Caiatl that said "you up." Yeah, you didn't see that. It's in the lore, bro. Read the lore. Dude, it's in the Grimoire, Volume 4. Open it up. There's a page that just says "you up."
So if I'm understanding correctly, there was more than just us defeating Caiatl's champion that went into Zavala's decision to team up with her.
Oh yeah,
of course.
The right of proving.
That is a mountain that he is ready to climb that mountain.
The right of proving has extra context now.
The right of proving had nothing to do with us and proving grounds.
He wanted to see what
could Zavala. Could Zavala satisfy the requests of Caiatl?
Who's the real champion in that video?
Bro.
Yeah, dude.
It was more context. You just missed it, man. It's deep.
You know what? Actually, I take everything back that I said. Destiny's a great game. We're perfect. Keep going, Bungie. Stay on course.
Anyways, Zavala's gonna see what those tusks can be good for, and
if I get one kiss a season, I'm gonna keep buying.
For sure. Look,
salute.
That's gotta be. That better be mostly platonic. Otherwise, Zavala's climbing quite a mountain. We'll just have to see.
These characters have been horny, haven't they?
Oh, all of them. Are you kidding? I mean, they're all locked up in the Lost City, and they got to be all like.
Here's my theory for why all the characters are thirsty.
Wait! This is when my channel got demonetized. Everybody remember this.
Let's go.
This is why we don't get help in these missions. We don't kill orcs on our own.
Totally, my theory is actually plausible. It's not disgusting. My theory is as the Bungie old guard started leaving over the years, it was replaced with fans of Destiny. And what do fans like more than anything? Fan fiction. They like people getting together, and they like these little romance subplots for the characters they love. And so I think the writers of Destiny are fans who are thirsty about the characters in the game. And I think that's why you've seen more sex and romance stuff getting into the game.
We totally forgetting about Drifter and our girl Aristo. It's been popping. Season of the
what are they doing?
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of there's some tension between those two.
It's definitely. Okay,
I think Practice has like no game, like no awareness about this stuff at all. Like, how are you missing all this?
I thought the game was about shooting aliens, not fucking. I didn't know.
It's about shooting loads. I can't believe it.
I thought the primary theme was something else. I was focusing on raiding and getting loot. You guys were looking at something else, I guess.
It's a looter and a shooter, okay? And I'm gonna leave it right there.
Oh yeah.
Loot that
what does Eris's third eye do?
Eris on the field.
Oh, bro, you gotta unlock that route if you want to know what Eris's third eye is gonna do, bro. I'm using data on a Destiny podcast. We've really gone.
Yeah, we went.
Yeah, can you picture like just a scene on the side?
Season of the Nasty.
Season of the Nasty. Yeah, that's Aztecross's season.
No, matter.
Different kind of nasty.
Yeah.
Yes, there's gonna be dating.
No, I was just gonna say there's just like it's one of those things where somebody like data mines a file into the Drifter, just like laying back in bed smoking. It's just like all right.
Listen, man, things are going down. Man.
Okay, well, this turned a completely a whole different way to finish up this podcast. But thanks for being here, sir.
Yes.
I don't have anything. Is there anything else you guys want to say before the season comes? Because it comes on. I gotta say, stop saying that word.
Bring us on.
Yeah, y'all ruined Destiny for me. That's my closing statement.
When you play Destiny for fashion, it's called Drestiny. When you play it for romance, it's called Undrestiny.
There you go.
It's true.
There you go.
Well, we ruined Mactics. Thank you for being here. We may never see you again, but it's been nice talking to you for a little bit here.
I'm not making videos anymore.
He's gonna start an OnlyFans and be like Destiny OnlyFans cosplay.
Apparently, I was focused on a very small subsection of the game that was not important. You guys are looking at the main storyline.
Yeah,
true.
I mean, we're at least reading between the lines. That's for sure. No, seriously though, it's actually been fantastic having you on, getting to know you. And it was kind of short notice to bring you in, but yeah, as we get to the end of the show, now is kind of the time where the floor is yours to let people know what you got coming up, where they can find you, what your just everything. If they didn't, they missed the opening for somehow, but yeah, the best place to find you, see you, and what to expect, and tell everybody where all that stuff's at. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, I would say YouTube is kind of like my avenue for everything else. If you find my YouTube, you can pretty much find everything else, my live stream. But I would say like YouTube is my primary spot. I think you have MacticsG1 under my name, right? I think on my Twitter. I think if you type that into YouTube, I think my thing will come up too. That or just Mactics on its own. But yeah, I mean, build videos, probably the primary thing. PvE stuff, educational guides, the main kind of stuff. So that's up your alley. Sweet. If it's not, might not want to watch me. probably wouldn't bring a lot of value to your Destiny content consumption chain. But
good. Salute, man. Good to have you in. Yeah. Good to have you. Great content, good educational content, and yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. I got a chance to talk. But yeah, what else is going on with you, Trav? I know you've been super busy. What's been going on?
Do you have any more reviews coming up? Or are you actually free?
I do. I've got a review. I finished it already, but the embargo doesn't lift until 8 days from now. It's kind of far away. It's a game called Ticuu Charles.
Oh, is that like horror train thing that I feel like I've seen a picture of? Oh my god.
Yeah. It is a survival horror game where you are being hunted by an evil Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yeah.
He's a choo-choo train named Ticuu Charles. I reviewed it. My review goes up in 8 days. I can't talk about it, but
I was gonna ask, is this gonna raise or lower your average for the year?
I'll just leave it at I reviewed that game, and my review goes live soon. So you can see that at some point. And then, yeah, I'm doing a bunch of preview stuff. I also can't talk about. I'm flying to San Diego next week for some stuff, and
yeah, nice.
Got things going. Also, I don't know, when was the last
Travis.
time? Last time we met, did I talk about my Goat Simulator review? I think that was my last review.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure if we talked about it. Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
That's it. I'm chugging along.
Yeah.
It's good times.
Nice.
Cog, how many podcasts are you recording before you take a break? You got like 14 to record before you take some time off?
Yeah, I still got a time. We got to double up for the holidays, but yeah, just shout out to Maddie. Send him some love. He's been going through some stuff, and I trust me. I understand creative burnout is real. So we got to take better care of ourselves. But yeah, we hit DD 100, so that was cool. Also, we had Ultimate on. We had the whole lore breaking down more ABK and FTC goodness, and then of course Iron Lords podcast every Sunday. The Lord's Day will be back this Sunday, talking about what's going on in gaming. And appreciate the love at lordsofgaming.net. Everyone's been sending me some real positive feedback from the team, so that's really cool. Shout out to everybody in the chat. A lot of fun. I see the clan up in there. Everybody having a good time, which is always good to see. Good to see Travis here. And of course, my man Mac dropping the
nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, likewise.
I do like the Lord's Day. I'm a big fan of that one.
Much appreciated. And E, what you got going on, sir?
Yeah, trying to figure out if I think the Callisto Protocol reviews come out in an hour and
I got midnight.
21 minutes.
Are you on that?
What's the content plans for next season?
Oh, for me, literally, so Dungeon Guide is literally as soon as I can get it done. That is number one. I've literally already got an ad I know that's going to go with that, so that's literally my priority. Of course, breaking down how the season loop works, what the season guide is. I'm trying to decide, since I haven't done it in a while, just like how to reach max level video, because that's just one of those that you can like cycle in every so often to get views from if you make it well enough. So
problem is though, like people are sick of that.
Oh, they are. But I will tell you, the people who find that video, they're tired of the grind. That is true, 100%.
They're tired of getting to max power. They're so over it.
Yeah, that's one of those that I'm like, I'm hoping we get like some type of tweak to that in Nightfall, because the fact that you can run a GM right now and in 5 days you can't sucks. It's just it's the treadmill's getting a little old. But yeah, it's kind of the initial start of the cycle. I'm curious what the season's going to be. I got a speculation what it's going to be, but we'll see if I'm wrong or if I'm even half right. But yeah, next week we don't have a guest, so it's just going to be the three of us kind of getting our early thoughts of the season. Dungeon comes out Friday, so I'm going to be doing nothing but. And then we're going to have Psalm Lab, awesome lore guest. If you want some ASMR time, that is going to be the one you're going to want to join for. Great voice there. And then we got the holiday break. So it's just going to be, it's weird to think they're launching a season in December.
Yeah.
And then they're like, and then Bungie is going to take their like 3 weeks off. So it's just going to be, we're getting to be like rotations of basic seasonal stuff and story beats and things, but most of them are not going to be there. No TWABs for a little while, but yeah, we'll have some story stuff to talk about. So that is mostly what's coming. Chat, you guys have been on fire, hilarious. Some of your guys' stuff I couldn't even say out loud, but that's totally okay. And Mac, thank you for showing up. Thank you for giving us way more time than expected. Pleasure. I know we kind of talked about not this long, so appreciate the time very much. And yeah, all of you guys, thank you very much. This is episode 226 on December 1st. Should be a fun December for everybody. But for this episode, it has been
the last
word.